just switch it around here.
A little behind the scenes, right off the bat. IT, can we cut that out? Okay, from the top, testing 1, 2, 3. There we are. We are live, ladies and gentlemen. I guess it's just gonna be that type of evening. It is what it is. A little kind of stumble through it type night because we're gonna have to go in a little bit of a different direction than we originally thought from the start. We have this new, I mean, like you guys have heard us talk about in the last, I don't even know how many live streams at this point. We have this new Denzel, Spike Lee, ASAP Rocky movie that's dropping this weekend. Currently, I guess, in some theaters right now. But, I mean, again, you want to get us excited for a movie, I guess, at any point, but in 2025. But again, just really at any point in time in general. But if you just, give Spike Lee the money to make a movie and have him cast Denzel and ASAP Rocky, we're probably going to be in the theater to go see that at some point. And again, you hear all those names, and like we've talked about in the hype leading up into the movie, there is a opportunity for Denzel, I think, to star in a movie that can hit in 2025 in a big way, because he hasn't really had that in the same type of way. Again, maybe with the Equalizer franchises and some type of stuff, and he's obviously been great in the movies that he's been in. He's a hit in any type of role, but just the movie itself aligning with his performance to kind of have some good relevance in 2025. The critical acclaim, again, the movie's good, the critical acclaim with the box office success, with the Denzel great performance, and with the cultural sort of conversation around it as well too. But again, you got still some obviously all-time legendary names involved in the film, and I just assumed with the star power involved that this would just be it'd just be like a normal movie, a normal theatrical release. And then when they did drop the trailer, it was like, okay, I guess I didn't realize it was totally A24. And then, again, I don't know, I didn't look into how widespread the theater release was for this movie, Highest to Lowest. So I guess if you can get to a theater near you and watch Highest to Lowest from the trailers that we've seen, we definitely recommend it. Again, I feel like you don't have to watch the trailer. You just go, hey, Spike, Denzel, ASAP Rocky. You just go ahead and just start walking. But again, you just kind of turn into Weapons. You're like, oh, I'm going over to see the theaters. Another one, we could have just gone to the theater, I guess, and watched Weapons and done a reaction to that as well too, which is, I don't know if there's a lot of things kind of colliding that are like, maybe we're going to start down the path of the horror movies. It's something that we've definitely avoided a little bit, not totally. It's a lot of the iconic stuff, we've seen some of that, but really to dive into the genre, it's like, okay, maybe this is the time that we really make the commitment for that. And I know that again, there's varying degrees to like the different types of horror movies, but just in terms of intensity and different types of, this is scary versus this is just kind of more pure gruesome and all different stuff. And that can be, a little bit of the line we try to walk when watching about horror stuff. But that's where Weapons looks really good, where it does look like it is, and it does, looks like it has some intense moments, of course, obviously. But it does look like it is good story, good tension, anticipation, all that different type of stuff. And again, the scores for that are really good as well, but the scores for Highest to Lowest are really good too. So that is something that is, and like we've talked about again in the past couple live streams, it has been kind of, I don't know if we can say resurfacing, but we do have to kind of see now as Hollywood continues to, even more so gain steam after COVID. I don't think we can necessarily, just the minute that it's like, okay, well, pandemic over, and even that itself, of course, is again, sort of a tricky thing to kind of just declare as well too. But when you kind of get to a point where we're more comfortable returning back to normal life, and then again, you get back to the normal business routine of things, you still have to, I'm sure there's a point of it, it's like maybe a little bit of like a player, if a player gets hurt and then the first couple of games they're back, it's like, yeah, what, if their shooting percentage is not necessarily the most efficient, it makes sense. You got to kind of get back into a rhythm a little bit. And maybe Hollywood did have to, and again, it's not just vaguely Hollywood has to get back into a rhythm, but that's just individually. And I mean, as we all know, in that time as well too, again, it's not just the business cycles and all that different stuff. The creative processes, everybody's routines are disrupted. I mean, again, from a player's standpoint as well too, just the day-to-day cycle and training habits of different players were affected. And again, there were ways which we were able to work around in some ways. And we eventually got to a bubble standpoint. We were able to, again, provide the necessary means to these guys can, perform their jobs. We can get some entertainment out. We can kind of balance everything around. But again, regardless, there is still that thing that is just involved with the whole disruption of everybody's processes. And I'm not saying that, again, it's not like, okay, we still had great stuff, we were still able to create, and there's still great things going on at a time and from right out of the time past, but just like we were saying, where's the originality, where's the sort of, you pull up the top 10 from the box office in the 80s and look at that, and you kind of have it a little bit. And again, I don't know highest to lowest, the independent thing, the box office success of that, even with Weapons as well too. But, and I was gonna say, we have like Final we pulled up the box office from this year several times, and it's still a little IP heavy as well too. Even if it maybe you start balancing the sequels with the IP, like Minecraft movie's obviously not a sequel, but it's still kind of that IP type thing that you get a little, you gotta turn your nose at if you're a little prestige, Hollywood prestige original type person as well. But just between, again, if I was looking at movies that I would have been excited at going into the year, some sort of summer, spring / preview, obviously Sinners would have been one that we started having anticipation for. And then, again, highest to lowest is one as well, too. And you see both of those critically deliver right away. And then Weapons was one we kind of start to get anticipated for because it seemed like it was going to, of course, cross. So it's like, okay, this does seem like it might end up being a little bit of a big movie. So we started anticipating for that. And the Final Destination movie as well, too. Again, maybe that we weren't quite... And maybe that is probably part of the stuff that's like, okay, maybe you just need to get into horror movies, because that was kind of a fun hype train for that franchise as well. I did see some, and I guess that is horror. I don't know. You start, again, the subcategories where that really classifies as, and I guess, again, like, it is probably just like a supernatural horror as well too. So I don't know, we go spoiler warning here for the last Final Destination, but again, the box office was pretty crazy. So I imagine a lot of people did actually see that one. But it is weird when you get to, again, like a point where this point in the franchise as well too, where they don't necessarily have like a Michael Myers per se in that franchise, but you do become kind of obsessed with the, I guess the quote unquote bad things that can happen in that as well too, where it's like, okay, you kind of want Michael Myers to get the people in the movie in a way, but also, outside of Jamie Lee Curtis, of course. But and make no mistake, there's definitely a little Batman Joker situation going on there. It's like, Jamie Lee Curtis, why can't we just take out Michael Myers? I do feel like she does try a little bit more than Batman. It's again, Jamie Lee Curtis, not necessarily a lack of trying. It's just like, Jamie Lee Curtis wakes up again and she's like, the writers, at some point I'll be able to kill Michael Myers off. But Batman's just like, I guess I just don't want to ever get the Joker. Hey, it is what it is. But, the kind of scare factor can kind of go away a little bit from some of those franchises, because, again, it's not, Michael Myers almost crosses over from scary to kind of cool. Again, the Final Destination, you're not scared of what's going to happen to the people. It's like part of the experience of the franchise as well too. So again, that's, I guess, where kind of Weapons can introduce. So you're not necessarily discrediting where hopefully I've been referring you to Final Destination correctly this whole time. I think I have, but yeah, hopefully the Final Destination, we can't discredit it's just in a different spot than like the Weapons franchise or something like that. So make no mistake, when we're at like Weapons 5 in 2030 whatever, it's like, oh man, another weapon, the offshoot of the I don't know what. Again, we haven't seen the movie, so we don't even know what a spin-off, the third version of the spin-off of that would be. But again, I guess the point being, it does seem like a lot of the hype movies are delivering. So it's just the newest addition to the Predator franchise, Predator Badlands, later this year, chat. And again, the trailers look good, and I feel like, I don't know, I feel like people, there have been some versions of that movie shown. I don't think, because I think at this point it'd be then cleaning up some of the graphic stuff. I'm assuming, a lot of it's shot, so you can show, from a story standpoint, you can obviously, critics and reviewers and all this. I mean, you can show a good portion of the story stuff, I'm sure, at this point. But that's the last one on the checklist. If that hits, then it's just, a win. We just went 100% on the hype list for 2025. It is what it is. I guess I have to go back and double check if there is another one. That's just the main one right now that jumps off. Those are the 3 heavy hitters: Sinners, Highest to Lowest, and Predator Badlands going into 2025. I guess I probably would have put Fantastic Four on there as well too, but hey yo, it is what it is. And I guess I don't know if we said this as well too on the live stream. Hey, I'm calling out the champ, but he said he didn't see Fantastic Four as well. So I guess we feel a little bit better about not going to see it. Again, the box office I feel like was okay. There was sort of a second week thing with Fantastic Four. Apparently, speaking of a little bit like the 4x4 single that Travis Scott drops, like second week, just plummeted apparently. I think, wasn't that song like the largest drop from a debut number one single? So it's like, hey, shout out number one single, of course. But then it's just like, oh yeah, the next week apparently people were not bumping that anymore. But same with Fantastic Four, everybody just went to see it right away, and then it's just like, oh, we're done with that apparently. But yeah, again, I would say that did deliver as well too. I don't know if it hit the 90% on the Rotten Tomatoes on that type of stuff, but I think it is a good movie. Again, Marvel, a little bit of a different spot than the Final Destination franchise. So again, 2 movies that we haven't seen, but I don't know. Well, I do think that people were talking about Final Destination a little bit more, just a little bit more positively than Fantastic Four. Again, a lot of positive stuff about Fantastic Four, but I think that the post hype for Superman was probably a little bit more positive for Fantastic Four than Fantastic Four as well too. So if we were doing a vague movie rankings, we'd probably rank. You're just some kind of like hype culture hype ranking. Superman would probably have to be ranked over Fantastic Four as well too. So again, I don't even know where to put Highest to Lowest in the cultural hype rankings, because if it's not getting a normal release, then but it will. I saw it is an Apple Plus thing as well too, so it'll hit the Apple Plus streaming services and then be available to the mass audiences that way. I'm sure the conversation will increase at that time as well too. But it is weird that, I guess, and again, you see the views in the trailer, and maybe again it would be sort of, it's not like the most marketed movie. Maybe it is just, I don't know. I guess I don't really know what the strategy is there. I didn't even see the budget for this movie as well too. But like we said, it does look a little bit lavish, and I don't know if Denzel in 2025 is necessarily a max contract guy. Same with Spike, but I don't know if he's necessarily, is he like a LeBron contract? Where, again, LeBron's pretty close. At this point, the max numbers are pretty crazy. We're getting into the 70 pluses, so even LeBron at 50, it's like, oh man, obviously the man's making a ton of money, but comparatively, it's like, oh, it was the top end talent starting to pull away a little bit, even from that. So he may be kind of in that sort of pay grade territory. Is Denzel, getting paid Michael B level dollars in 2025? I don't know. And maybe going forward as well too for Michael B, as he continues to establish himself. I guess it would be pretty close. I'm thinking, like, who would you have to, if you were just paying for actors in a movie, like, I feel like, salary cap wise, Denzel might actually be one of the more expensive ones, just the legacy part of it. And I guess now I have to kind of filter my own personal, like, okay, I'm the producer on this movie, well, I guess I'm just paying to, whatever, I'm a, whatever producer for his movie, we were just in a bidding war for Denzel. He's just choosing between 2 scripts, and we're like, okay, well, I guess we'll offer you 10 million, 12 million, I guess it's up to 15, 20, the price just keeps going up. It's like, okay, Denzel's highest paid movie ever, and he's the 3rd star in this movie that Rem's making. It's like, what's going on? It's like, well, it just had to have Denzel in this movie, so I have to kind of separate those 2 factors, but I still feel like he would get a pretty good, like Adam Driver. Is Adam Driver more on the salary cap than Denzel in 2025? I get there might be some like current arguments you could make, but I don't know. Again, I feel like I'd still be more confident in my salary cap in Denzel in 2025. It is what it is. So I feel like it's not the cheapest movie that they made. So, I don't know, Apple TV, they're just biting I get the streaming thing, they're just biting the bullet. We just get a crazy movie with great people. And it does seem like they are again, investing in these high-level guys for sure. We've seen them have some couple of the major releases with the big stars this year as well too. But, like we've said, and it's like, okay, are you making a movie that can be like a Tubi level movie going forward? Obviously, the reviews for this are not. It's like, oh, this is headed for Tubi in a couple months. Hey, yo. But it does become kind of that thing, again, if it's not necessarily getting the theatrical release and if it hits a streaming service and, again, if it doesn't have necessarily the marketing push that they're like, okay, we're going to give this the widespread release, are they going to, like, rebrand everything on the app around Denzel and highest to lowest and just give it that, like the F1 level sort of marketing push as well too, because it does seem like movie quality wise, again, this definitely matches if not surpasses the way people are talking about it for sure. But it does become one of those things where you're scrolling on a streaming service and you're just going to gravitate toward those familiar faces, and you're like, oh wait, Spike Lee, Denzel, oh wait, yeah, no, they make great movies together. Even if you're not necessarily certain what this movie is, you're like, a new version of it in 2025, I guess I'll sign up for that. Kind of like we were saying, even if they're not, number one of the power ranking as well too. And I do think it is interesting as a service that, again, they kind of continue to, and they've, paid every version of a star in prestige TV, and, it was to that one point where, even where John Hamm was running those, like, commercials where he's like, Apple, what do I have to do to star in a TV show? Hey, yo, and I think those were even Apple commercials as well. But, again, everybody's just being paid by Apple at this point. But for their movies for this year anyways, again, you got Brad Pitt and Denzel Washington as the big stars of the movies. It's not like, and I guess you do have Damson Idris as well too in F1, so there's a little bit of, some of the next generation of acting as well too involved in some of these movies. But again, it is a little bit relied on some of those older stars. Like we're kind of seeing NBA a little bit. It is a little bit like, hey, Steph and LeBron, again, like we're saying, are kind of the face of the league. It's like, hey, Brad Pitt and Denzel are still, the two biggest guys. And if Apple's just like, hey, we're going to continue to just spend on movies and creators, I guess we want like Brad Pitt and Denzel as well too. And again, like Netflix, again, they have everybody. They have, I guess everybody has everybody, but we all know that, these are the studios now as well too. But, they have the older stars and the younger stars. I guess we need to have like a chart. We need like a SPO track for these actors and these creators and these streaming services, so we can track it all out. And then what the current contracts are as well too. And some people are just signed for certain franchises, because you got like the Russo brothers are over at Netflix with the Gray Man, so they make Gray Man movies for Netflix, but then they make their own movies as well too. And they even made a movie for Apple as well. They made Cherry with Tom Holland, and that's them kind of doing, again, the same formula. It's like, we're gonna just spend for big creators and big budget stars. And that one is one that I always want to kind of watch that one because of the people involved. It's just like, okay, I don't know if this movie is just a super rewatchable movie all the time as well too. It is a great performances and the story and all that different stuff. Again, it's not a movie I've rewatched a lot, so I'm gonna have to go back and re-see that one for sure. But, and Apple is tough as well too at this point, because they don't necessarily have the back catalog on the streaming service in the same way as well too. Again, like speaking of Tubi, again, it's like all back catalog. And it's just like, okay, we're not gonna have a movie newer than 2013 or whatever. They do have new movies on there occasionally, but again, they don't. In the Netflix as well too. You obviously have the full range of movies at this point, where they definitely are more Netflix the studio, and here's the original content, but still here's the old school Netflix and just the DVD section version of the streaming services, where you can just kind of find and discover, whatever version of a movie you want from wherever. And as and it's going to take Apple a while to continue to build up and stuff as well too. But again, if they continue to spend on the creators and stuff, that is ultimately going to be the best way to do it, and just have the familiar faces. But again, I guess Holland is one as well too. You do have Chalamet, HBO got Dune, so I don't know if there was a bidding war, back then for what was going on. And again, I'd have to go through and recheck, what are all, I guess, is there a list? Because I feel like, with the TV shows, they're obviously really, uh, they really do it. They really put out a lot of TV shows, for sure. But the Apple Plus TV, I guess. Okay, we'll just go with that. Apple Plus TV movies. We'll see what happens. And I guess, again, we're looking for originals as well, too. Oh, Coda was an Apple TV movie. But, I mean, again, like Killers of the Flower Moon, Scorsese, Leo, they're just like, okay, paying for the winning formula over again. And I guess is the new Leo movie that's dropping as well, too. I forget the creator. Another, again, it's Leo as well, too. He's going to work. The best of the best are going to work together at this point. But I forget, is he in a Scorsese movie or is it another director as well, too? It's not like Wes Anderson, is it? In this new movie? But Echo Valley, had this dropped yet? I actually saw trailers for this. This looked pretty good as well, too. Sydney Sweeney. Sydney Sweeney's best acting yet? Hey, yo. We'll see. Or I guess either way we'll see because we haven't seen yet. But I guess the library is pretty deep. And again, a lot of them, some of these might just be lost as well, too. Straight to Apple TV Plus. Not necessarily. Wolves, when they had Clooney and Pitt in the movie together, I think that one was pretty good as well, too. Though we didn't quite hit the critical levels of this. Oh, Napoleon was Apple TV? Hey, yo. Ridley Scott was Napoleon, no? Oh, I forgot Vanessa Kirby was in Napoleon. Hey, yo. When Fantastic Four hits streaming, we'll do a little Vanessa Kirby, back-to-back Napoleon and Fantastic Four. Hey, yo. I don't know what we say pause there, but, what we're saying there, Chad, from a movie standpoint, but yeah, I mean, the Steph Curry doc, I guess, counts as a movie. Still, a Michael J. Fox movie. So they are counting, the real lives. Oh, Macbeth, speaking of Denzel, Denzel is, obviously on an Apple contract. He's like, okay, you can do Apple movies and the Equalizer franchise. I guess, and maybe at this point, the Equalizer, I don't know, is the back catalog that you can get on Apple TV. I don't know. But I did see that there is a little theater like 30 miles away that plays independent movies. I was like, okay, well, maybe we'll just try to wander over there this weekend and see what happens. So hopefully Sunday is, we're like, hey, we saw highest to lowest. Here is how amazing it is. But otherwise, I guess we'll just have to see what happens. Wait a couple weeks. Because it is not a long wait from the theater. I think they were saying the Apple TV Plus is the 5th. Maybe when it drops September 5th as well. So we'll just keep our eyes out, America, stay tuned. AO. Highest to lowest, I guess that's what we're going to stay tuned for right now. It's this new Denzel movie. But, we're excited, like we said. It's going to be a good time at the theaters, on the couch. I mean, we're going to be rewatching it on the couch as well, too. So that's not going to be, it's going to be a good time either way. For sure. But hopefully we do get to see it in theaters as well, too. Because it does look like a movie that would be a good theatrical experience. So, again, a little bit of a pivot, I guess, tonight is basically the point. And it does turn out as well, too, that it happens to be the anniversary of another Spike Lee joint, the original Kings of Comedy. So not necessarily, obviously, a movie in the same sort of way. But that's part of the reason that makes it special for Spike Lee's career. And it is still, fantastic to rewatch as well, too. So we'll get that fired up in the background and watch along to that. Not something that I don't think have seen this year yet. So this will be fun to revisit as well, too. Definitely should be something that, should be watched probably multiple times a year for sure. But we correct it for 2025 now, and I guess we still hopefully have. I guess we watch it a couple times tonight to catch up. Chat. We just kind of keep it on repeat, and then we'll make up for it, I guess. But we'll kind of have our own Tubi or our own Pluto programming for tonight. Just like, okay, we'll just rerun this 3 times, and then that'll be good to go. But still iconic, obviously. Still, again, speaking of sort of having legendary people involved, Obviously, legendary at the time, legendary because of this, all that. But again, you do have Spike at the forefront, sort of directing this. And at the time, I mean, Martin Lawrence is getting to be, a pretty big star at this time as well, too. I mean, again, there's a level of star power to kind of everybody involved. This is the heavyweights of comedy, like they're saying. But again, you do have Spike at the forefront. Spike probably is, not even probably, is the biggest star sort of involved in this, for sure. But again, like you were saying, adds to his diversity as a director. And what is so fun with him as not just a guy with movies, but just as a creator in general, is he does kind of ascend that status in a way where, again, he's Spike, he's the director first and foremost. Obviously the movies are what we love him for, and maybe his Knicks fandom is second. I mean, his Knicks fandom is pretty close. It's what is Spike known for? Being courtside at MSG and making movies. But the amount of work that he did, obviously outside of movies as well too, with music videos and commercials and special projects like this as well too, were what allowed him to be such a cultural force as well. And again, he is obviously when he's coming up in the 80s and then into the 90s and setting the stage for some other directors as well too, like Singleton. And Singleton helps push some of these stories as well too that Spike is telling at the time, in a little bit of a different ways and different types of movies, for sure. But again, you do have Spike as one of these few guys, as a driving force of a cultural movement of the 80s and 90s, becomes a, like we're saying, lead just creator in a way that you don't even see directors. I would say maybe some of the directors before that, I guess, we wouldn't necessarily know. You start getting to a certain point in film history, and it's like, okay, we're not necessarily going to know certain other names here. But you can't imagine that some of these guys were having the same sort of all-around entertainment influence like Spike was as well. And, again, this would just be our own lack of knowledge of some of these names just to be able to talk about them off the top like this. But like you see now as well too, and you do see guys kind of put their name as an executive producer label on stuff, but I don't necessarily think that a guy like Coogler has necessarily had like the music video commercial type of success that, and again, how many guys have had the same sort of, the Spike literally creating a character and him and MJ, just becoming big, like actual branding personalities themselves as well too. Again, like just few kind of people, creator stuff have kind of hit that levels as well. But you just don't really see any directors do that as well. Like, you don't even see, like, again, like Nolan is not just like out like just kind of directing these, and not to say like random stuff as well, but the fun other projects, and again bringing quality and cinematic value and great storytelling to some of these other stuff in kind of a way that, again, like Kendrick does as well too. Like you kind of see, I would say maybe Kendrick is the guy that is kind of crossing over into this stuff the most a little bit with PG Lang. And again, there is a executive kind of producer thing that he is, he from him kind of helming this stuff as well too. I guess we're not necessarily going to get too technical about what was this guy labeled on a certain project, I guess. But again, it's just like what is your, like, where are you creating in all these different aspects of the entertainment zeitgeist. And we still got, again, Spike creating a movie and still kind of doing a little bit of the same old stuff here. But again, as a stand-up movie, as a movie based around the stand-up sets like this, it is just a different thing for him to have approached as well too. And stand-up comedy itself as well has been a little bit of a up and down thing over the past 25 years as well too. So the ability to maybe pull this kind of project off would have been different at different points. But it is not necessarily something that, and I guess this as well, it has been, of course, repeated and there have been different spin-offs of this exact thing for sure. But it's not like a couple of years removed somebody has sort of tried their different version of it, especially now as well too. Like we're saying, this would be a great way for these streaming services to just spend a lot of money on the top guys. Like Netflix with their sort of push for stand-up comedy, especially, for a second there, when it seemed like almost a special a week type eventization of it. For a second, a special a week is a little crazy, but there was a little bit of a feel where it's like, oh, are we almost going to head that direction in a way? Just like everybody's just going to be getting a special on Netflix at some point. But they haven't done like they do the festivals and stuff. The roast of Tom Brady might be the closest thing to that type of thing in a way. But they're like, okay, we're just going to pay for the 4 or 5 best stand-ups to just go out and just do a set and do a movie, and it's going to be directed by, again, whatever young creator is fun. Or, again, Spike at this time in 2000 is obviously pretty established as well too. So, Tarantino's going to direct a comedy special with 4 guys, and it's just going to be crazy. And I don't know what the combination is. Again, I don't know if it's Coogler has to direct it as well, but just a guy that's been around, established, Villeneuve, our guy. I feel like Villeneuve he's had to have done like some Sauvage commercials, like some kind of cologne commercials or something. There's no way. There is just a general sort of cologne commercial vibe to a lot of his movies. Like Dune almost could be just a long, like a 3-hour cologne commercial in a way. Like I wouldn't be surprised if Chalamet was just like out of a sandbank at the end of the movie. It's just like Sauvage for men, it's the newest scent from Macy's. It's like, that's the post-credit scene in Dune. Spoiler alert, Dune's a cologne commercial. But you can see, I guess maybe not necessarily the comedy as well too, but that becomes part of it. Like who could actually, again, not just who is doing it, but who actually could direct sort of all of these different things as well too. Like maybe Greta Gerwig could be the most versatile in this type of way. And again, all of these great creators are going to bring a great element to whatever it is, and it's going to be a unique version of the product. But could Bombeck, Bombeck maybe doing like a, speaking of Taylor Swift, hey yo, chat. I guess no album announcements tonight on this live stream. It is what it is. But maybe Bombeck directs like, I guess it depends on the artist as well too. So I guess there are artists that he probably could direct a music video for. He probably has directed music videos. As well, or maybe like like what are those like Save the Dogs, the pet rescue commercials? Noah Baumbach like remixing a Sarah McLachlan commercial. Like you could definitely see something along those lines, as well too. But maybe the versatility that Spike had, again, it is obviously there. He's great. There's a one-of-oneness to it as well. But that type of even from a projectable type of thing. Doesn't seem like anybody has that type of skill set as well too. And like Bong Joon-ho is gonna direct, it would be great as well. But I don't know if it would necessarily tap into all of and hit sort of even the same sort of story arcs that something like this could hit as well too. And to be able to maximize the creators that he has in this, and again, there's a star power that all of these guys are bringing to this, but again, there's a star power that is elevated as well too because of this performance and because of this type of event that this became, and the type of legacy thing that this became as well too. And again, really, these guys, like we're saying, there was a sort of top of their game thing as well. But it's not like stand-up itself was... I mean, again, stand-up was big in the 90s. But stand-up, it was more the guys... It was more the stand-up comedians were big in the 90s. And they were turning into TV stars and be on SNL or get the TV show, and and again, Seinfeld's obviously there's an arena type thing, and maybe it's just the social media, people talking about it, and the ability for the internet to kind of showcase the day-to-day tourness and what's going on in some of these comedy scenes is obviously maybe not quite the same as well too. But again, it does seem like it's more of a pipeline than it is like a sort of a standout thing as well too. And maybe, again, are we going to sit here and talk about the history of stand-up comedy? But I would say that, again, like Sandler and Seinfeld might be, and maybe Martin Lawrence would be some of the ones that would be like, okay, their stand-up would be as notable as their TV and as their movie stuff. But again, a lot of those guys just, and as it is some of the more popular spaces as well too, and the money and all the different stuff like that, as they moved into those different type of things, it's not like the stand-up clips were becoming the big thing, or the stand-up special in the 90s I guess didn't feel the same type of way as well too. Like, again, you just don't necessarily like the iconic stand-up specials. You kind of go 70s, 80s, and then there's almost not a skip into the 2000s for sure. But and maybe it's just the infrastructure as well too. I'd have to, what was the comedy infrastructure for guys getting specials at this time? But again, even maybe the availability of some of them back in the for replaying them now as well too. But a guy like Norm, didn't even get his specials that you're rewatching until a little bit later as well. Like, he's got the Comedy Central one, he's got the Netflix one, then he's got the whole shows. And again, he's on SNL. You can find the stand-up clips. He's doing stand-up at award shows, and that was always for Norm his first love is always that art form was stand-up. So he was gonna try to be in those environments as much as possible, for sure. So again, there's clips of some guys like that, and again, Seinfeld. There's some guys as well too that are like, that are like stand-up is the thing, as well. So you're gonna always kind of have the material for them because they're just always doing it. But it does seem like, I don't know necessarily when it would kick back into gear as well, but I would honestly say that it would be with sort of the Netflix thing, or maybe it would be with the Comedy Central thing. I guess Comedy Central kind of bringing that back around. But it does feel a little bit too like there's some stars of the day with the Comedy Central era versus the sort of all-timeness of it. And again, maybe it's kind of what I'm thinking of, like the 2000, late 2000s, 2010s kind of Comedy Central era. I don't know necessarily how that it extended to some of the 90s stuff as well too. But I guess, point being, this is maybe, up there obviously for the premier just stand-up things at the time. And maybe Chappelle, because you do have Chappelle show in the early 2000s, and he's obviously doing, stand-up to get him to the Chappelle show. But his stand-up specials are a pretty big deal. I'm trying to think, when did the first HBO one drop? Or not, I don't know if it's the first HBO one. And I don't know if I'm gonna get the title exactly right, but is it the Killing Me Softly? And is that a newer one or an older one? I think that's the older one. I should, we should be locked in, chat. We should know the names of them. It is what it is. But do they have here stand-up specials? Yeah, they do. Oh yeah. Oh, so it was his first one. Yeah. So his first one was 2000. So maybe, and I guess you do have Chris Rock specials in the 90s as well too. So it's like the Chris Rock specials, and again, maybe it's just, it would be us just like what the list, kind of have to continue to crystallize, I guess, in the mind. But I don't know if it's a pause, ayo. But I guess, even like we're saying, even Chappelle does 2 in 2000 and 2004, and obviously he takes the break as well too from Chappelle's show and is just out of the industry there for a while. So, that's probably a big industry thing as well too, just for what the industry is focused on when you have kind of a star player like that is ready to leave again. So wait, what day would this have dropped? I guess so. 2000, you get Killing 'Em Softly and Kings of Comedy. So yeah, this would have been just a just about a less than a month before. So within the same month, you have both of those specials. Like that is pretty crazy. Here, let's go best stand-up specials. And again, I know 90s. This is 2000, but this is that turn of the decade, turn of the century, sort of spot on the timeline. So you've got Carlin with Jammin' in New York in 92. And yeah, guys like Hedberg as well too. I guess it's no one that would be re-remembering some of the years for these guys as well too. Dennis Miller in 1990, David Cross 1999. We've got I'm Telling You for the Last Time 1998. Looks like a lot of special guests on this one. I guess Shandling, Robert Klein, George Carlin. So this is a Seinfeld recorded shortly after Jerry Seinfeld's iconic sitcom went off the air. Dennis Leary, 92. Bill Hicks, 92. Carlin, 92. So yeah, you've got like Hedberg and Bill Hicks in the 90s. So you do have comedies a little bit. Again, Chris Rock is obviously pretty mainstream at that time. So you do have a kind of the balance of some of the underground stuff and a couple of mainstream guys. But again, there is just a lot of underground kind of stuff as well too. But not even necessarily underground just in terms of like it being low key. Like I would say like again like kind of underground alternative, guys kind of being off kilter with their comedy in a way where again now or maybe sort of a couple of years ago, I don't know if we're necessarily in sort of the peak stand-up phase the way we were. Again, and maybe COVID was a part of that as well too, and sort of that, just the time around COVID, what we were able to access, and I guess who was even putting on events at the time as well too. But the secondary guys, I guess is the right way to say it. The B tier guys. Again, no disrespect. It's just if we had to sort of categorize everybody, I guess. But there is sort of a beat familiarity thing, a stylistic thing that you can get with stand-up, where again you kind of, and it's not like, oh well, the A plus tier guy is always the funniest, and then this guy, he's not as popular, so he's not quite as funny. Again, you kind of find your guys in whatever level, or you find your people that you like in whatever sort of level of popularity it is. But again, sort of. It did seem like there was a bunch of guys where the uniqueness of their styles obviously made them captivating to look back at, but maybe didn't quite propel them into, again, sort of the mainstream success that you see from some of these guys. Where again, like Chris Rock is obviously, controversial with the topics, or I guess, pushing the line and progressing stuff forward with the topics, but there is still, he's still kind of traditional joke style stuff, even if he's kind of working the art form in his own way. It's not sort of the same abstract-y type stuff. It's like that, Hedberg is necessarily going for in the same type of way. And then, yeah, you've got Patrice with the 2011, and then Louis C.K., of course, with his specials, is working in that time in the 2000s. As well too. Mulaney starts to emerge in the 2010s. I guess, is this all time? Oh, this is best 20 stand-up specials of all time, I guess. Hey, yo. So Zach Galifianakis live at the Purple Onion, a top 11 stand-up special of all time. Hey, yo, shout out, Galifianakis. It is what it is. So yeah, Hicks, Kinnison, I guess I don't know exactly what year he passed, R.I.P. But again, he would have been more 80s at that point. You've got Robin Williams, movies in the 90s, obviously, but you got the main special, I guess, 2002, prior Carlin, mostly in the 70s. So again, I guess I would have to do, it's probably an infrastructure thing at the time, but again, I guess that pipeline would just continue to have been established. I guess it's always there in a way. I guess, like Lucille Ball working your way up through improv and then getting a TV. Like, I don't know exactly what her, her pathway was for getting a TV show. But, again, the comic sort of to TV to entertainment pipeline was always there. But maybe it was just a different type of captivation in the 90s compared to the way it was in the past. So, again, maybe that, I don't know if that sort of led Spike to want to sort of reinvigorate / showcase in this type of way as well too. But like we're saying, maybe that's just him kind of capturing, seeing maybe where there's a rise that's about to happen here as well. Again, with kind of Chappelle and you're off of Chris Rock in the mid to late 90s as well. And it's like, okay, we're kind of the mainstream guys are kind of multiplying in a little bit, and maybe we start to turn the corner a little bit here as well. But again, you would kind of say that these are, almost TV movie guys in a way. And obviously Hughley is newer to the scene at this point, and then Bernie Mac, he was established in the 90s, of course, but I think starts to get some more lead roles in the early 2000s as well too. So he definitely emerges out of this. His set is obviously sort of the star making set in a way as well too, out of this quartet of people, for sure. And again, same with Steve Harvey. I mean, for Steve, it would be more, again, kind of just how he continued to focus, and for all these guys, the focus on the stand-up versus some of the TVs and the show stuff as well too. And for some, like for Steve Harvey, I mean, again, you can't necessarily say that for his career he's made the questionable career choices. Like, he's kind of made the right career choice along the way. Like, he's about as big of a star that I feel like, again, for his career, like, how much bigger of a star could you be at this point? I guess it would really be him sort of, if because the talk show doesn't quite get you that same sort of thing as well. And, again, he's had versions of it in the past. I guess I'm thinking him actually, like, taking The Tonight Show or something like that versus more, Steve Harvey's got his, another version of a daytime show or something like that. So, and again, it doesn't have the same gravity, obviously, in 2025. I don't know if it has the same gravity in 2015. But, again, if there was whatever the version of that would be in 2025, and maybe in comedy we don't really have one. Maybe it would just be like Steve Harvey has the #1 podcast in America or something like that. Steve Harvey on, I guess he did go on Club Shay Shay, so that episode probably was pretty popular. But him on like Theo Vaughn or something. So I guess it would be him, again, kind of having his own show as well too. And then if he's able to sort of unlock a new level of fame, so maybe him sort of crossing over more politically would kind of be the last, again, maybe for anybody, if you're gonna get people to know your name as well too, that'd be a good way to do it. So kind of the Stephen A sort of, Steve Harvey sort of, a Steve Harvey versus Stephen A presidential race 2025. I don't know if I'm excited or terrified. Hey, it is what it is. If you go through the poly market odds right now, that would be actually an exciting candidacy. But if you just go through kind of what you want from, your ideal sort of political candidate, I don't know if that would be sort of your top 2 draft picks as well. Oh, cancel me, but I'm just saying my sports talk show guy and, Family Feud host as well too would be kind of the what I was thinking when I was saying that as well. But, again, I guess, with the pathways that have been open, maybe sports talk show host guy is not so bad. If we were drafting TV shows that we wanted to have a candidate emerge from, maybe actually sports talk show guy is actually higher up on the list. I don't know. But, again, he is, right up there. How many of these guys have a suit collection is basically, I mean, DL definitely has one, right? I don't know if he has one with, does he have with a major brand? I don't know. But, and it just, does Steve Harvey still have suit collections? I mean, Steve Harvey is still pretty popular. I mean, Family Feud is basically the only game show that matters at this point. I don't want to just throw that out there because I'm not locked into the game shows. I don't want to disrespect any of the other ones that are, kicking butt right now. If anybody's outrating Family Feud, my bad. But I'm just saying, from a if I had to ask, if the confidence of if I had to ask a person if they watched a game show, you know, Family Feud is the one I'm most confident in that they would watch. Slash, if we had to put on a game show somewhere, Family Feud is also the one I'm most confident in that most people are going to enjoy. Maybe that's kind of the same thing, you know, different phrase, different ways. But, and, you know, again, if you're like, okay, Jeopardy, Wheel, you know, any sort of iconic game show, you can get into playing the game show. Like, everybody kind of knows how they work and all the different stuff. But, you know, Family Feud, again, in 2025, I think is the one. And Steve Harvey, I think, is a big reason because of that. And I don't know what his run at Family Feud is as well here. Let's see when he got that job as well. So maybe it's one of those things that's more, you know, my sort of pop culture consciousness versus actually like entertainment history. Has it been a long time? Because again, he's been Family Feud for as long as I can remember, but that could be like 15 years, and that is obviously like a great run for hosting a talk show. But I don't know, or a game show, but I don't know if that would make him like the longest tenured game show host of all time as well. But we will see here. So Family Feud, when was it created? 76. Shout out. Dawson hosted Family Feud. I guess he did. I knew that he was a game show host, but for some reason I was thinking that maybe he hosted Jeopardy for some reason. But no, Family Feud definitely is the number. Well, I guess again, can I just say it's the number one game show show of all time, just based on Richard Dawson and Steve Harvey. Again, speaking of Jeopardy, you know, you gotta give Trebek his respect as well too. You know, Bob Barker. You know, I guess I don't know necessarily the list of names, but wait, so so Steve Harvey so yeah, again, like I guess 15 years. So 2010 to now. So wait, when was Richard Dawson hosted? Original run 76 to 85, and in syndication with Richard Dawson as host in 87. The series was revived as a pilot later in 88 on CBS in syndication with Ray Combs hosting in 94. Dawson later returned, with Dawson returning until the latter version ended in 95. In 99, the series was revived through its first run syndication with 4 different hosts: Louis Anderson, Richard Karn, John O'Hurley, and then Steve Harvey now. So, you know, since its revival in 99, definitely Steve Harvey, the longest tenured host. I guess you got as announcers Gene Wood for 20 years. Shout out. Hey, yo, Gene Wood is crazy, chat. Hey, yo. Whoa. I think maybe a lot of people out there have had a little Gene Wood every now and then. But 1976 to 1995, a 20-year run as the announcer. Burton Richardson putting in 10 years. Joey Fatone, 5 years. And then Reuben Irvin, the last decade. So wait, Richard Dawson was kind of like in and out as the host. Hey, yo, yeah, speaking, Richard Dawson maybe in and out a lot of things, but is the host of Family Feud. Here we go, hosts and announcers. We just have a straight timeline. So 85, yeah, so 9 years, so a 10-year run for Richard Dawson, Ray Combs. I guess nobody else besides that would have been put in a decade for the show as well. So let's see here, because Trebek was around for a long time. Longest tenured game show host. How many guys have had the decade or even the 15-year run as the head coach? Or as head coach, hey, yo, game show host. Could be kind of a head coach in a way. But we got Bob Barker on here twice. Bob Barker, the Grover Cleveland of game show hosts. So Alex Trebek, 39 seasons. Whoa. The show began in 84. R.I.P. the legend. Shout out. Bob Barker, The Price is Right. I mean, look at him there, chat. Hey, yo. I mean, we got a little, what's the movie, chat? Hey, everybody knows the movie. And now, for some reason, I can't, well, it's not, you know, Weekend at Barney's, Weekend at Bernie's. Hey, yo, chat. This guy's Weekend at Bob Barker right here, hosting the game show. I mean, the man barely up. Truth or Consequences? So this was like his first game show. I guess Bob Barker I guess he's got to be the GOAT game show guy. I guess that's not necessarily a shock to have that maybe confirmed. But because he's gonna be one of the names that you just know. It's like, who's a game show host? Oh, I guess Bob Barker's a game show host. Even if I never really watched him, or if I had passed Bob Barker on the street, shout out if me and Bob Barker had, hey yo, Chad, what kind of riddle is this? If me and Bob Barker had been in the same bakery, what's going on here? But if we had been in if we had passed Bob Barker in like a Starbucks or something like that, just getting coffee and Bob Barker's in line, yeah, I wouldn't have known. Probably would have just been like, oh, I'll just let this old man just go in front of me. It's just a nice gesture. Not even realizing I'm letting Bob Barker, you probably should just have him stay, pause, have him stay in line behind me and then see if he'll pay for the coffee or something. But, instead I'll be the nice guy, get this old man, he's shuffling around, let's get him in and out of here, make us, a good, quick trip for our guy. But, you gotta, if there's an old person customer, you gotta use a nice timely customer service. Is not necessarily a bad thing, but pause. But yeah, shout out to Bob Barker, Drew Carey as well. Legendary Steve Harvey. So there we go. Steve Harvey is the host of Family Feud, Celebrity Family Feud Africa. Hey yo, shout out chat and several others. Monty Hall. Let's make a deal. Monty Hall's a person. I thought Monty Hall was like a hall or like a saying. I don't know, but Wayne Brady. Howie Mandel, Regis Philbin. Is this in order? Because I feel like Regis has, of course, he's been in TV for a long time. The show itself on the air for 22 years, merging into a spinoff of Who Wants to Be a Super Millionaire. Okay, hey yo, it is what it is. So again, he's in the mix, of course, legendary guy, but I would say you got to give Bob Barker, like we're saying, his respect. You got to give Trebek his respect. Sajak? How long has Sajak been in the game? 40 years! Whoa. I guess he is number one. So Sajak actually over Trebek? Oh, Trebek at 39. Sajak at 40. Hey, yo, Chad. I mean, no disrespect to Pat Sajak, but... I mean, what has he ever done for, Pat Sajak? Shout out. But, I feel like Trebek still gets the number. Does Trebek get the number? I guess it's him and Bob Barker, like we're saying. Hey, yo, this is what happens when you can't go watch the Spike Lee movie. You're doing game show host rankings on a Friday night. It is what it is. But, all-time Rem and Sam. I mean, all-time Rem and Sam. Again, and it's going to be Steve Harvey is... And maybe that's where Steve Harvey gets sort of the boost, is... You think about sort of his dominance in his generation, like, I guess you could say for Bob Barker, maybe the competition was a little bit tougher. More game show hosts. Bob Barker's directly competing against Alex Trebek. Is there a year where it's like Bob Barker, Alex Trebek, Pat Sajak, and Richard Dawson are all hosts? It's like a game show hosts are at the peak of their powers. I mean, imagine, Chad. We need to bring back game shows. I don't really know who for because... Again, I don't think literally anybody my age is watching game shows. And you think about, okay, like now it would be like old, the shout out, the grandparents are watching the game shows. So, when we're older, are we going to be in the home, are we going to be in the house watching game shows? But we're just going to be in the house watching streaming services still at that point, right? So it'd be like, oh, let me just go back through Fresh Prince of Bel-Air one more time instead of, just what's the new episode, I guess this week on Family Feud. Versus, and again, because the game shows, it's just the same show, just replace the host as well too. So, and that's the thing. I feel like we've been trying to maybe find new game shows. Well, I guess we've also been reviving game shows as well too. So sometimes it's even more sad. We're like, oh man, CBS is not. We're reviving the game shows now. We got nothing going on because they were doing that. Didn't they do that for? They replaced Corden with the game show, and it's like, oh man, and maybe I would say replace Corden with the game show. Corden's going to call in and turn into Seinfeld. People are replaced. We were replaced. But, Corden, call in and get mad. Hey, yo, it is what it is. But shout out to Corden. But, I guess maybe he was, he's moving on bigger and better things, focus on movies, all that different stuff. But you've got, I feel like they replaced that time slot with the game show. And instead, it's like, oh, maybe that was more an L for talk shows than it was like for the network necessarily. But no, who's cooler than a good game show host? Like a game show host really is top-notch cool. Like Steve Harvey is, Steve Harvey, top-notch cool. But again, if we're just talking stars in the entertainment industry right now, he is a really big star. I guess we can't necessarily, pull up that power ranking per se. Is there a Forbes 100 list that we could look at that Steve Harvey's on maybe? But yeah, again, his tenure and his dominance, and there just hasn't been anybody around because again, Trebek was in the run for a long time up until recently. Same with Sajak, of course, but just Steve Harvey was still for a new generation, for the millennial kind of plus generation. There was still a love for, I think, the older game shows a little bit, maybe some of the millennial people, but once you get to like Gen Z and younger, it's just all Steve Harvey at that point. Pause for the game show hosts. Like we really just don't even know anybody else besides the legendary names that you just hear people talk about, but not from actually watching experience of actually consuming the game shows on a real basis from that type of way. And again, that's a little more personal as well too. Like I feel like my cousin really likes game shows, so they also just really love Family Feud. So I'm just projecting, they just really love Family Feud as well too. But I feel like they get a little bit more into some of the other stuff as well. But and again, you got Steve Harvey hosting tonight on the OG Kings of Comedy. We should mention as well. So he's got the point guard duties, and again, kind of works out. I guess I don't know if Spike necessarily who set up the actual show itself, or if Spike was just responsible for sort of like, okay, we got the show set up and then we got Spike attached to direct, or how the order of the pieces came into place. But I mean, as you would expect, Steve Harvey, of course, is the perfect guy to sort of be hosting this event, because I guess there is a version of it where maybe Martin Lawrence hosts as well too. I guess I can't necessarily say who. I would assume that Martin Lawrence has to be the biggest star at the time, or maybe because let's double check the years for Martin as well, because you got Bad Boys, of course, Boomerang, early 90s, 92, and then he does Bad Boys in 95. So you've got the star power of those movie roles. And yeah, like Bernie Mac in some fun movies, popping up in Friday. Is Players Club like 97, maybe? So I think that's before this, because I think he does like, Soulman's, posthumous, shout out. But, hey, well, I guess we could look up the Bernie Mac 2000. Well, we just will rewatch Mr. 3000, but that's like 04, so that's a couple of years. I'm trying to think like what he did like right, 2000, right around that range. But what were we looking at here? Martin, the TV show. What years were that on TV? So 92 to he gets Martin right after Boomerang. That's right, and then. So 97. So yeah, he's obviously got that TV show under his belt at that point. So I imagine that he is the biggest star. So I guess you could again kind of have him sort of maybe host and then kind of headline sort of ordeal in a way. But the Steve Harvey energy is the perfect sort of hosting familiar energy. And again, with Martin Lawrence sort of being that big star, sort of having him with the star treatment in that type of way, in a headlining-ish type of way, is I think appropriate as well too. And again, not to say that Steve Harvey's not a star at this time, but again, Martin Lawrence I think is on the power rankings, sort of the headlining guy. And then from the comedy set wise, I think Bernie Mac obviously will end up probably winning the day, or I guess not end up, but has won the day since then, in the just the greatness of the set that he was able to have as well too. But yeah, and then you're gonna have Hughley as well as the new guy, so I don't know if you can necessarily have him hosting in the same type of way. I mean, he obviously could, I guess, but you kind of have him as the opener guy. Here's the star, here's the next generation, kind of get the endorsement type. And I guess I'm not necessarily too familiar with his filmography before this. So here, let's take a look real quick. So yeah, I guess from a movie standpoint, again, he's not really getting roles. TV, he has the guest star in Fresh Prince. So he really is just like a TV sort of guest star guy up until this point. And then the Hughleys in 98 as well. So 98 to 2000, the Hughleys. Is this on Tubi? The Hughleys? Who's in this? DJ Daniels, Marita DePrima. Shout out Ashley Monique Clark. Hey, yo, Chad. The show starred Daryl Hughley as the main character, vending machine salesman, Daryl Hughley. Elise Neal portrayed Daryl's wife, Yvonne. Former Living Single co-star John Hetton portrayed the couple's best friend, Millsap Morris, from an old neighborhood, who often visited the family helping him out. Hey, yo. This could be a fun. I see only 4 seasons, 89 episodes, where we got like a half hour, Chat. I see a very easy watch here. 4 seasons and under, it starts to go like, hey, that might start going right to the top of the watch list there. I guess, was that his show at that point? Did he ever get another Weekend at the DL? That's a talk show. The Late Late Show guest host. Premium Blend, a stand-up comedy series. That's kind of a fun name for it. Premium Blend. Guest starring on Scrubs. And then Dancing with the Stars in 2013. Trust Me, I'm a Game Show host. So he also hosted a game show. Not to the success, of course, of... And Match Game. Heartbeat, is this also a medical-based drama? Shout out The Fix, Comedy Get Down. So, I mean, D.L. Hughley's down to host a game show in 2025. If anybody's got an idea for him. Hey, yo. Guest hosting on Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? He's got experience, Chad. The man has a great resume for game show hosts. It is what it is. A good run in the 2000s for movies. You got, of course, like we're saying, original King of Comedy. You've got Soul Plane in 2004. So 2004, maybe the next best year for the Kings of Comedy cast with Mr. 3000 and Soul Plane. D.L. Hughley in Soul Plane, Bernie Mac in Mr. 3000, I guess, could be a year in contention. But yeah, Martin Lawrence does the movie with DeVito in 2001. What's the worst that could happen? And then after that, I guess National Security. You got Bad Boys 2, of course, but outside of the Bad Boys franchise, Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins, cameo in Tropic Thunder, the Big Mama movies, I guess, are in there as well, too. But, I mean, again, Martin Lawrence is, I feel like, a 90s guy as well, too. And, like, this kind of being at the turn of the 2000s, and again, Bernie Mac, I don't know if there's, because he was established in the 90s, I don't know if there's necessarily like a passing of the torch thing that happens. And again, I don't know if Hughley necessarily has sort of the same movie success that, even Martin Lawrence had. But, I mean, of course, he is one of the major stars of the 90s. But, and I'm not saying that, we're glad that he didn't have the run, I guess, outside of that. That's not the point. But him just kind of being defined to this era as well, too, is not a bad thing. Because, again, it is a good 90s run. You got the TV. You've got, between Boomerang, I guess, House Party 2, Boomerang, I got both House Parties. Hey, shout out. Boomerang, Bad Boys, Thin Line Between Love and Hate, Life, Blue Streak, and again, the TV stuff. It's a pretty stacked decade for him. That's a good one to go back and rewatch. And like we were saying, he's in the mix for he was in the mix for our first ballot Tubi Hall of Fame induction. But there's a couple other guys that maybe first ballot could get the potential nod as well. But again, shout out, he is a legend. And in the comedy sort of movie legacy, you don't necessarily think of him. And I guess, I don't know if I feel like we were just talking about Martin Lawrence as well too. I guess it was because of the Tubi thing. He doesn't really have, like, I guess outside of Bad Boys, he doesn't really have like the solo sort of Eddie Murphy, Beverly Hills Cop type of thing. Because I guess even 48 Hours, him and Nolte are both starring in that, Trading Places. And I guess you have kind of both of those before Beverly Hills Cop. So then he kind of has the established as the co-star in a way, but also the best part of the movie. So yeah, there's been another star that is there, but Eddie Murphy is better, and then he proves that he can carry a movie solo in Beverly Hills Cop in a major type way. It never quite got Beverly Hills Cop. Again, you could say that Bad Boys, of course, is a 48-hour sort of Trading Places level type role with the buddy cop duo of him and Will Smith. But there was never a Martin Lawrence movie that was quite the main hit in that type of way. But kind of is almost the Eddie Murphy heir apparent, like we're saying, in a way. I don't know if Boomerang is, again, a passing of the torch, because I guess Eddie Murphy himself, is continuing into the 90s as well too, and into the even the 2000s, making as classic movies, but making fun movies as well. But he, at that point, through the 80s, kind of gets established as a movie star, and is kind of moved away. Like, that's one of the reasons that I love Boomerang so much. Like, obviously Eddie Murphy, the stand-up, is great, but it feels like in 92 that there's a little bit of a kind of a full shift where you do feel like Eddie Murphy feels like not just a full movie star, but almost like kind of solely a movie star in 92 in a way. And again, maybe not even just in what he's doing, but almost in the way that he's carrying himself in Boomerang as well. Maybe that's just him not being as focused on like doing bits in that movie. So again, it feels like him as an actor, and he's obviously just great in that movie. But you do have Martin Lawrence as the sidekick guy there, and then goes on to kind of be the TV thing. And like we're saying, TV, I guess, kind of is sort of the if you're a comedy star, you're kind of a TV star in the 90s in a way. So kind of takes that torch from him as well. So I guess, who would be, if it's like Chris Tucker, I guess would be one of the other candidates for the 90s. But then, even still, I guess, he didn't necessarily have like movies in 92 and 94 that were, I guess because, again, he's doing TV as well, too, at that time. So, Rush Hour is going to be at sort of the end of the decade as well, too, for Tucker, kind of along with, you see Friday 95, but then, Money Talks, Jackie Brown 97, Rush Hour 98. Rush Hour 2 and 3 are on the other side of the century as well. So, again, he's starting to emerge kind of the end of the 90s as a movie star in that way. So he definitely is, again, in the sort of comedy movie lineage for sure. But, and I guess for Tucker, didn't really have the TV thing. He had the movie thing with the Rush Hour franchise, but didn't have the TV show the same way that Martin Lawrence did, in that same kind of star power in the 90s as well, too. And like we're saying, there's a star power there with the TV thing. I mean, the movie thing is, the movie stars are as big as ever. 90, I guess this is 2000. Again, we're back in 92. But, De Niro in 1990 is, or whatever. Just like the movie stars are big in the 90s for sure. Swayze in the early 90s. But the TV guys are still able to kind of compete on that same type of way. And there is, again, there becomes a sort of, and I mean, as we know, just kind of throughout time as well, too, the dynamic between the movie and the TV star, where the movie star, there's an eventization of that, and there's a, kind of a big sort of star power feeling, but a separation a little bit between the star and the consumer. And again, you kind of get maybe 1 to 2 to maybe, the crazy 3 movies a year or whatever from a guy, and they pop in and out and just give you kind of these great, give you these great performances, where that TV star is in your home every week for, back in the day, you've got 30 episodes on a TV show season. You've got half of the year every week. This guy's just in your household and going through storylines, and you're following this family or whatever, and you're just maybe getting more interpersonal dynamics as well too. So there just becomes a sort of a familiarity, relatability thing with the TV stars that the movie stars don't quite have in the same way. And again, you got the guys like Martin kind of balance in a little bit of both as well. But for focusing mainly on the TV things, there is a familiarity, I think, with his stardom that maybe is a little bit different than, say, like, Chris Tucker's stardom, again, with being sort of a bigger movie star. I think a movie like Friday maybe being a little bit more smaller, intimate movie, kind of helps that as well, too. And that's just, again, like in Rush Hour, there is even though, again, there's like a sort of they're in the big cities, and as they get a little bit more, they scale up a little bit as they go throughout as well, too. But there is especially to the first one, an intimacy to the first one as well, too, without it having to feel like, a scale, the movie star, movie type of ordeal. But Martin bringing the energy to start. Hey, yo, shout out our guy, the dance moves. And where is this? I forget. This is in Charlotte. So is this the Hornets Arena? Who knows? Is this the best moment for the Hornets Arena in 2000? It literally might be, chat. It might be. I'm trying to think if they've had a couple of like playoff wins or buzzer beaters at this point. Ayo, chat. Embarrassing typing skills tonight. It is what it is. Shout out. Let's see here. The Charlotte Coliseum in Charlotte, North Carolina. Home of the Charlottes from 1988 till 2002. Okay, so this was actually the best years of the Charlotte Hornets and the Charlotte Bobcats, and the second incarnation of the Hornets from 2004 to 2005. The Coliseum hosted 371 consecutive NBA sellouts from 1988 to 1997, which includes 7 playoff games. Oh, wow, chat. Really crazy. Great job by the Hornets getting to 7 playoff games in a decade. Hey, yo. It hosted its final NBA game on October 26, 2005, a preseason game between the Charlotte Bobcats and the Indiana Pacers. The Charlotte sold the property in the building along with the Mia Lin commission outside of it and demolished it via implosion in June 2007. Okay, hey, yo. It is what it is. But, yeah, you would have had, again, the Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, Del Curry, Alonzo Mourning teams all in the 90s that were actually, like, the Charlotte teams that, like, those teams are underrated cool because the coolness factor of those teams is really doing a lot of heavy lifting for Charlotte. And, again, Charlotte is not a team with a rich basketball history. And, well, I guess, that's disrespectful. They do have good seasons, really good players, like we're saying. Great teams in the mix for sure. Just have not had the most, unfortunately, postseason success as a franchise. It is what it is. So I guess the original home with them starting as a franchise in 88 all the way up until, like we're saying, that 2005 preseason when they ended there. So yeah, that 96-97 season, 50 wins, 94-95, making the semis there a couple of years. You get the Bulls in the first round of the playoffs in 94. I guess 94-95 would have been the year. Hey, yo, Chad. No MJ, but still, again, the Bulls were good. Scottie Pippen. It is what it is. You have Larry Johnson at 18 a game that year. Alonzo Mourning at 21. See, that's a fun matchup. On paper, you kind of go, I could see that being a fun series. But 1-3. And I guess this would have been the MJ return series. So they would have had MJ for this series specifically as well, too. MJ in the regular season, 27 a game. In the playoffs, 31 a game. 48% from the field. 36% from three. Ayo, Chad. We need to go back and investigate this season. The Magic actually, eliminated. I feel like that's just kind of, underplayed a little bit. The fact that they did actually just kind of eliminate the Bulls, and was MJ actually just playing well at that time. You just have Shaq at 24 a game, Penny at 18 a game, Horace Grant at 18 a game, Nick Anderson 15 a game, Dennis Scott 15 a game. Just a lot of scoring on the team at the time. B.J. Armstrong at 12 a game, Kukoc at 11, Steve Kerr at 5, Longley at 5, Will Purdue at 5. They hadn't brought in Rodman yet as well, too. It's the need to bring him in and have his career revitalized on that Bulls team. It definitely helps propel him for sure. But you've got Scottie Pippen at 40%, 19-9 as well too. Maybe he's just like, okay, I'm bummed out that MJ's back. This was gonna be my redemption season. But Game 6 was close, 108 to 102. You have here. Let's see what MJ did in the last game. We had Shaq at our guy 27, Penny at 21, Shaq 27 and 13, MJ 24, 7 and 9, 8 for 19 for the field. Scotty actually a little bit better in the last game, 26, 12 and 6, 2 steals. I guess MJ 4 steals, but Scotty a little bit better percentages, 8 for 15 from the field. Ron Harper, shout out Ron Harper. You know, hoping we're hoping Dylan Harper has good genes. Hey, yo, Chad. Ron Harper, shout out, 4 for 9 from the field, 8 points in this game. But, yeah, Magic, of course, get him at 6, and we rewatched that Game 1 of the finals earlier this summer as well, too, the iconic game with the free throw situation, we'll say, for the Magic at the end of that one. But, yeah, you know, tough matchup, of course, that season. So did they just get the Bulls every year? We'll see here. Ayo, pause. But, okay, New York swept by the Knicks in 96, 97. And then, yeah, Chicago again in 97, 98. So, you know, a little bit different regular season. You just lose. Like, would it be better if they had lost to Chicago in the conference championship? It's like, oh, man, remember the competitiveness of those Charlotte teams. Just like, which round do they get matched up again at that point? Glenn Rice going crazy that year. I guess Alonzo Mourning removed from the team as well, too. So I feel like the Alonzo Mourning version of the team is definitely peak coolness. So wait, did Glenn Rice and Alonzo Mourning did they get traded for each other? Did they not play together? What happened here? Okay, we're far off the path from original Kings of Comedy, but it did take place in Charlotte, so, you know, it's all definitely connected somehow. Spike definitely, did they have Basketball Reference in 2000? If they did, Spike definitely would have been on the Charlotte Hornets page. Maybe not, but the Knicks page at some point in the making of this movie, so, you know, I feel like he's not totally against it. In the rewatch at this point, let's see here, traded by the Heat, traded by the Heat with Matt Geiger, Khalid Reeves, and a 1996 first-round pick, Tony Delk, later selected to the Hornets for LeBron Ellis, Alonzo Mourning, and Pete Myers. So, yeah, he was traded for Alonzo Mourning. Okay, that's tough because, again, Glenn Rice is our guy. Shout out. He got Michigan the national title in 89. But I feel like the Alonzo Mourning-led team, like we're saying for Charlotte, is sort of the team that you think of. You definitely do think of him on Charlotte. You think of him on Miami as well, too. He had very good tenures for both. But I do feel like, again, the Charlotte jerseys as well. But an Alonzo Mourning Charlotte jersey is right up there, Chad. I guess he was only there 3 seasons. Hey, yo, I didn't realize it was that short of a tenure for him. Imagine, Chad. Is there some revisionist history here? Again, we don't want to doubt our guy Glenn Rice. But Alonzo Mourning is pretty crazy. And I don't know if Miami was a worse off place for him to be as well, too. You know, I feel like, again, his career was still pretty successful. But those Charlotte teams were kind of fun as well. I don't know what moves would have been on the table for them to make to get past. You know, could they have gotten Rodman? I don't really know what else you do at that point to get past an MJ-led team. 19 a game, 50% from the field for Miami. You know, fun career for sure. 20 a game every year to start in Charlotte. Just going wild. And they take him, second in that draft. And then to just trade him 3 years after that, the Doncic trade, chat. Hey, yo, shout out. Probably not quite like that. But yeah, between Alonzo Mourning, Larry Johnson, Muggsy Bogues, Del Curry, we give Robert Parrish, a 41-year-old Robert Parrish hanging out on this team. Tony Bennett, is that Virginia Cavs coach, or I left my heart in San Francisco? But either way, you know, we got him as the 10th man on this team. That's kind of fun. Hershey Hawkins at 14 points a game. I feel like Hershey Hawkins has an iconic nickname. Oh, Hawk. Okay, apparently not. Daryl Dawkins does. Shout out. I forget exactly what his nickname is at this point. Okay, chat. We've just got to double check the Daryl Dawkins nickname, I guess. It is what it is. I think, 2 R's. for our guy, Daryl. Oh, a lot of nicknames. Maybe the #1 nickname guy of all time. Chocolate Thunder, Double D, Ayo, Doc, Dr. Dunk, Sir Slam, Zadonkadon, Ayo. The Mad Dunker, dunk you very much. That's just a phrase. That's not a nickname. That's like a fantasy team name. Candy Slam, Sweet D. Whoa! Basketball reference. We've got Sweet D and Big Doc next to each other. Hey, yo. We might have to put those behind a paywall. I'm DM basketball reference right now. That's crazy. Sweet D is wild. Master of Disaster. That's kind of fun. Squawkin', Dawkin'. Is that one nickname? That is one nickname. Squawkin' Dawkin'. I don't know if that's cool or not either. But Double D Dunk, Sir Dunk, Dunk It, Pure Pleasure, Cool Breeze, Dr. Jam, and the Demon of Destin. Demon of Destin's kind of fun. From the Orlando area. But Zadonkadon, the Mad Dunker, Chocolate Thunder, Double D, Sweet D is crazy, chat. Ayo, I don't even know we put that on a basketball reference page. Shout out. Never made an all-star team, which is kind of crazy. You'd think you just make an all-star team for, breaking a backboard, but apparently not. But again, the heavy lifting that this team does in the sort of the cool rankings of teams is way up there. Because you do think of this team, I think, a little bit more than maybe your normal 50-win, eliminated in the first round in 4 games team from the 1990s than maybe you do typically. But shout out. So it's either, I guess, this playoff series win that they had, because they did lose to the Bulls round 2. So this playoff series win versus the Hawks in 1997, or the original Kings of Comedy. Those are the 2 biggest moments. I guess maybe some other kind of concert. If there was a concert potentially, there was a couple of semis losses here as well too in 2000. So wait, let's check these out. They lost. Oh, they lost to Milwaukee in 7. Was this the finals? The year Milwaukee could have gone to the finals, and then Milwaukee loses to Philly in 7. So the Eastern Conference in 2000, 2001, chat. Ayo, it was a slugfest that year. This would have been Mashburn, Baron Davis, Paul Wesley, PJ Brown, and Eldon Campbell. Do they not get their respect for being close to winning a championship? Derek Coleman, Eddie Robinson, Jamal McGlure, the 8th man. Were they like on the doorstep, or was Ray Allen just going crazy in this series? So 46 wins, not the best regular season. Again, I don't know if that team necessarily gets remembered in the same way. And then eliminated by the Nets in 5. The next year, but the year the Nets go to the finals, if I'm not mistaken. Let's double check that. The Nets, they lose the final to the Lakers. So they have been eliminated by some good teams the years, again, that they are bounced. Stacey Augmon joining the bunch. Baron Davis still, Mashburn, still the same group of guys, I guess, running back. A year later, of course, Paul Silas trying to lead the team. So you got to have a former Celtics player. I guess they do have a former Celtics coach, not head coach, but former Celtics assistant as of right now in Charles Lee. So having a former Celtic as a head coach, they had Cowens in the 90s, Paul Silas in the 2000s. Am I not mistaken? Let's double check the player record here. Yeah, Boston, Phoenix, St. Louis, I guess Atlanta, Seattle, Denver, bounced around a little bit, but even logged some MVP votes in Boston as well too. A MVP vote here in Phoenix in the early 70s as well. 17 a game in 72. Ayo, shout out. But that's part of the formula. Fun players. I don't know, LaMelo Ball, Del Curry 2.0. Maybe that's Steph. But, for the Charlotte standpoint, Del Curry 2.0, but discount Steph Curry is LaMelo Ball. So that plus the Celtics connection at head coach is the formula for them to maybe turn some things around with Brandon Miller as well too. Con Knipple. Do they have a guy named after a body part on this team? Any nipple related names on the 2000s Hornets? Kirk. Okay, maybe not quite. Lee Nailon. You got Nailon, maybe. I don't know. We're in the same territory. Mashburn. Ayo. Okay. I don't know if we're, making a, we're kind of, forcing it a little bit. But the Charlotte Coliseum, shout out. Looking good tonight, chat, I guess, is the point. and it is a sold out lit crowd. So, the way they have the stage set up with the audience being, up closer to the stage as well too, smaller stage than it is an NBA court. Maybe, I don't know what the biggest audience for, they're probably not the biggest audience for the Coliseum. Wait a second, what does it say here? Notable events? The arena was used for larger scale college basketball events in order to compete for the Piedmont Triad and Research Triangle areas of the state, which is the state's heart of the basketball culture. The Coliseum hosted the 1994 Men's Final Four and the 1996 Women's Final Four. In addition to NCAA regional tournaments, blah, 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 it also hosted the 91 NBA All-Star Game. It is the site of WWE's Unforgiven 1999 and Judgment Day 2003. Okay, so I don't know, 91 All-Star Game or this would have to be like, is this like the best WWE event of all time? Here, this is another just burn this list right now. Best WWE events ever. Let's see what gets brought up. What do the people say? 15 best ever. Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Austin. Undertaker versus Steve Michaels. Razor Ramon versus Steve Michaels. John Cena versus CM Punk. 20 best. 10 best. 15 best. WWE.com. Okay. So that's got to be a pretty legit source. This is literally the league saying this is the best we've ever done, I guess. Survivor Series 95. Okay, that wasn't the one in Charlotte, though. We're looking for, I don't know, Judgment Day 2003. Backlash 09. Extreme Rules 2012. In Canadian Stampede. No Way Out. Oh, no. Is there Kevin Costner in this? Gene Hackman? If Gene Hackman's not in this No Way Out, then I'm not interested. But, shout out to the WWE people that are. Okay, SummerSlam, no. Great American Bash, no. Honorable mentions, WrestleMania 3, Andre the Giant. Hey, yo, shout out. Spring Stampede, Royal Rumble. Okay, so just, I guess, WrestleMania X7. We don't even have a picture of it. It's just a secret event. Money in the Bank 2011. Second best WWE event of all time from 2011. I feel like it should be a little bit of a more OG event from that. Then 2000. And then you get the Spring Stampede from 94. So I don't know. Definitely a peak time for WWE, for sure. Or I guess it was 94 Final Four. So Unforgiven was 99. And then Judgment Day 03. Okay, so not quite making the cut. And then the Coliseum was was home to filming of the movie Eddie in 1996 and was the Tech Dome, home of the fictitious Tech University in the 98 film He Got Game. So Spike maybe this was just one of his locations, chat. Hey, yo, it was the venue for the 2000 stand-up film Original Kings of Comedy and was also featured in 2002's Joanna Man. Oh, chat, I guess I didn't realize that the Charlotte Coliseum was that locked in. Hey, yo, that's a pretty great 4-movie run. I don't know. Eddie, He Got Game, the Original Kings of Comedy, and Joanna Man? I mean, you're kind of hitting all levels of film at that point. I mean, He Got Game is like an Oscar film. Eddie, Joanna Man, Original Kings of Comedy. I mean, there's some awards you could give out into those. I don't know, some raspberries, some Oscars. Again, you're hitting every sort of level that the film industry has had to offer. So that is some great history there for the Charlotte Coliseum. R.I.P. chat. No more. Like we said, imploded in 07. It is what it is. But it may lives in the hearts with good memories. Was replaced. I don't know. Was it destroyed in a hurricane? Oh, Katrina, chat. Oh, wait. What was one of the Coliseums like? Oh, Last Functions was being a shelter. I was ironically to serve people for being sheltered fleeing from New Orleans in wake of Hurricane Katrina. Charlotte Coliseum was replaced. Wait, so why? Ironically, I guess I don't know why it says ironically as well there. But yeah, shout out. Oh, the Charlotte Sting played there as well too. Shout out, bring the Sting back. Sting's a good name as well. I don't know if like the names and stuff, they always have to be associated. Like, oh, it have to be a Hornets associated name because the Charlotte's are already the Hornets, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just saying the Sting's a cool name, and it's a cool name for the equal branding as well too, because I think does help. And again, not even from a NBA necessarily WNBA perspective, even though you could say that's part of it, but just as a basketball in the city thing, I think it is cool when the cities kind of have a brand as a basketball thing. Like, I think it's cool that Minnesota is like the Timberwolves and the Link. Like, it kind of, again, it's like that's Minnesota basketball. You've got kind of the Wildcat thing going on there. For I guess Vegas, whatever their team name will be. For what did we cook up that one time, chat? We did do a name cook up. Was it just the Vegas Gamblers or something like that? Oh, the Vegas Mob. That's what it was. Yeah, bring that, chat. The Las Vegas Mob. That's a good one. But I guess I'm sure they're trying to the Valkyrie and the Warriors. Yeah, that does go together for sure. That might be up there as well too. The Valkyrie and the Warriors. Seattle doesn't have their team anymore at this point. The Dream and the Hawks, they don't, and their kind of color schemes are a little bit off as well too. But I don't know. I feel like both those teams are kind of, the Atlanta thing. I feel like both those teams are kind of, it makes sense. But there is a handful there that do have sort of overlap. And again, I don't know if it goes to the ones that are kind of in the same ownership group and which ones are separated as well too. Because like the Fever and the Pacers, I guess there is sort of a like they kind of sound, there's a similar ring to both of their names, but I don't know if they're necessarily the same type of thing. Because I think what the Indiana Fever, it's supposed to be like basketball fever for the state, but the Pacers is obviously the pace car for the Indiana 500. So it's kind of a reference to two separate sports in that sense. And then, Phoenix, you have the Mercury and the Sun. That does kind of go together. And again, that is one, of course, we know that's the same ownership group because that was talked about in the sale for that team as well too. The Lakers and the Sparks is a little bit different, but I don't know, the LA Sparks branding is very Lakers-esque, and the Sparks are a pretty notable team as well too, being an LA team. So I feel like there is a connection to both of those teams. And again, like with the Mercury, you have some similar branding as well too between them and the Suns for sure. But I guess, point being, the Sting is a cool name. The Charlotte 49ers, an intercollegiate, University of Charlotte. Ayo, shout out. I was like, well, what kind of USFL team was playing there? But played their final days of the Sun Belt Conference in the Coliseum. Ayo. So I guess their basketball team, if it's the school. I guess, how much more research do we need to do on the Coliseum? But, hey, that's fun to see that those movies were all filmed together. Of course, it is fun when a random place, like not in Hollywood, has a history of that type of filming at that one spot. Because, again, like in LA or even New York or something, you just expect a lot of filming to take place. And you do have, this is the restaurant where this scene took place at, and maybe it's not it can be a little bit unique as well too. It's this kind of one random spot at all these different places, but it's like, this place in Charlotte, and again, it's not just this place, it's the stadium, but still, a little bit off the beaten path. So I don't know, maybe a little more cost effective in Charlotte as well too. I don't know, but now we're thinking ahead as well. Now we can plan for some of the other stuff in there as well. And you also do just have, of course, great sort of early 2000s fashion, which in a way, some of the bagginess of the early 2000s is kind of back around a little bit. There are, of course, sort of the modern 2025 touches. The filter of the last 25 years that it's been run through. It's like, okay, now it's, the 2025 version of whatever we were doing. Some different materials for sure. I would say a lot less shiny, but I was thinking about that, rewatching some highlights, and I was just, the old sort of shiny NBA jerseys. I was like, how do we get back to shiny NBA jerseys? I do like the athletic sort of, sleek design stuff that we got going on now, the non-shiny jerseys. But whatever, if maybe it doesn't have to even be the same sort of material as well too. But if we can bring that back just for a set of alternates, I would not be NBA, Chrome series. Hey, yo, Chad, or just the NBA 2000 series as well too. But I feel like there needs to be a little bit more of that type of thing as well, because and I again, I love a new jersey as much as the next guy, but it does seem like some of the design stuff that we're going for, I don't really know where we're at. So we'll still probably just stumble into cool jerseys every now and then, and with the NFL, or with college, it does feel like for some reason though, college is the one space where the jersey innovation can just always be taking place and kind of always be cool. Like, at some point, maybe it's just a numbers game. There are more schools. There's more opportunities to have cool jerseys. Again, you can kind of be like, oh, wait a second. What's this new colorway that Louisiana Lafayette dropped? Like, I'm not following them. But now what's the Instagram post looks cool. Like, now ESPN's reposted it. And now all of a sudden everybody sees it. But the NFL NBA jersey tech is a little, and maybe the NBA specifically, but it's just been a little off, I think, over the last handful of years. Again, you do get like a Phoenix would be one. The Valley jerseys were, I think are ones that really stand out as pretty cool over the last couple of years. The Spurs jerseys are always pretty safe. The Fiesta colorways are cool. Miami with their Miami Vice jerseys as well. But again, it doesn't really feel like we have, I don't know, will we look back at the era with the same sort of nostalgia? Maybe we will, and just be, again, as time moves on, we don't even really know kind of what the era is at this point. I guess what it is we do know. It's those round, the round logos at this point. Can we just go like 2025, 26 NBA logos and see what logos? Here we go, logos, and just see if we can find. And sometimes you maybe go a little bit farther back with the homage, but I feel like maybe for the year we could just do like as a part of the set of alternate jerseys. It's like, here's a year that we're picking and everybody has jerseys from that year as well too. So you have your new jerseys, and like Chicago, their teams, of course, so as we see here with these new, I guess, versions of Chicago, their pinstripe jerseys, they'll remix again older designs into the newer looks. And I guess this is not totally updated with everybody's circle logo, but it's pretty close at this point. Atlanta, Boston, Brooklyn, Denver, Detroit, Golden State, Houston to some degree, Indiana, both the LA teams basically, half of Milwaukee, Minnesota, Philly, we got Toronto and Washington. So yeah, essentially half the league at this point is rocking a circle logo. The two new logos for this year, I guess, are okay, this is updated from the past. Did Brooklyn not update this past year? Somebody just recently did a new circle, so maybe this is not quite totally updated as well too. But let's see, like in Minnesota, I guess they were formed in the 90s, so they don't quite have the the 70s, 80s run. But again, their 90s, early 2000s stuff is really cool as well. And I like the newer jerseys, like the white gradient stuff is cool. Like, can we see, like with the pine trees, where's the logo? Okay, logo timeline. I guess this is sportslogo.com, not necessarily sportsjersey.com. But can we have, okay, alternate uniforms? Here we go, 2010 to present, I guess. Or is this just the ones they used for, not to present. Of course, they're not rocking these anymore. These are tough. Not tough as in cool. These are kind of rough. Not going to lie. The 2010 Minnesota run, the Kevin Love era, it's kind of a brutal jersey era. Sorry to Kevin Love. Brutal teams, brutal jerseys. Just not a time you wanted to be a part of the Minnesota Timberwolves. It is what it is. But, yeah, I guess either way, point being, fashion, 2000s. It was cool. Some of the stuff. And maybe a couple years ago as well, too, I wouldn't necessarily been as cool. So maybe it's the way it's been sort of remixed. You kind of look back at it with a little bit of like, oh, here's how we improved it, and you can kind of see the good aspects of it as well too. But I would have thought that this would have been a bad era for just fashion and aesthetics in general. That like kind of that 2000 to 2005, and maybe it's still not maybe the highest ranking that we've ever produced, But again, with some of the design stuff, it really is kind of cool to look back and see what we had going on as well too. And again, maybe it's just character in some of the stuff that we had as well. City, breaking down City remix editions. Can we get like a little picture here maybe with all the jerseys? Cool little logo design. Hopefully that's not the coolest thing that they produce for the City editions. I don't know why they have it listed like this, but I don't know if the pictures are going to load here. Unfortunately, it is what it is. But either way, chat, hey, yo, we got a break between sets. Shout out between Martin Lawrence, to Martin Lawrence. He just went up and crushed his set 20 years ago, of course, on this original Kings of Comedy Rewatch. But we will take a quick break here, and we will also be, I guess, firing up the new Chance the Rapper album that he just dropped tonight as well too. Haven't listened to it yet. It will be a live first time react to his new project in several years, of course. Fun to have him back in the mix, and excited to listen to this and see what is going on here. So shout out. We probably would have been listening to this anyways if Highest to Lowest had dropped. So Chance the Rapper, this is not a worst case scenario. Don't feel bad. It's not like, oh, we're listening to Chance because we can't watch Denzel. It's no, we're excited. We want to listen to Chance the Rapper's album, man. This is a part of the schedule. This is what we want to listen to right here. Part of the new music drop for 2025. And hopefully our guy, is able to keep up with some of the great drops that we've had so far. I guess, just because, again, it's been a great quality year, and we want quality music from our guy, Chance the Rapper. So this will be an exciting album to dive into. We will see what happens. So stay tuned, chat. On the other side, we will keep following. We've got, of course, Bernie Mac's set of original Kings of Comedy to watch as well too. So Chance, maybe we will pause the Chance the Rapper album when Bernie Mac is up doing his set as well too. It is what it is. But stay tuned, chat. On the other side, we will get into Chance the Rapper and Bernie Mac's set right after this. Okay, here we are, chat. Kings of Comedy resumed. The speaker is on and ready to go. And the Chance the Rapper album is here on Spotify and ready to be fired up. Clean version for the kids? Hey, yo, chat. I think we're all adults here. But shout out, of course, been a minute. What was it, 2019, 2020? First album of the decade, technically? For Chance, not first album in a decade, but 2020's, I guess, first album of the decade. And I gotta say, I don't really blame him as well. I mean, I guess should we just fire up here and get into it? Let's see. We got a ton of features. I guess pretty feature heavy as well, too. Shout out. Oh, our guy, Joey. Hey, yo. It is what it is. Okay, let's see what we got here. Oh, not just an intro track, an actual track as well. Of course, his singles have been really fun. There's been a lot of quality in his singles. We haven't had... Oh, am I just playing it off the computer here? Hey, yo, I meant to play it off of the speaker. Let me get it fired up here. Play it from the phone real quick. But I feel like he's, again, kind of held back a little bit from the actual, of course, songness of a lot of the singles that he's been dropping. It's felt like there's, you know, just been kind of 50%, 60, 75% of maybe what the actual full song would be. But it does seem like he is actually giving us, you know, full tracks here on this. Because, again, there could be like, I guess 17 songs in hour 7. You know, pretty expansive. But there is a version where maybe it is a little bit like the Gunna album that we just saw as well, too. Where it's kind of, what would he have, hour 7? But he was like 25 songs. With maybe the way that Chance was dropping those singles, you know, a little bit shorter kind of style songs as well too. So of course we're gonna be in and out of the mute because we can't just listen to the music on the YouTube. It is what it is. YouTube does not grant us those privileges quite yet. I guess I don't know if they're even working toward it, but at this point, you know, of course we can't listen to albums live. It is what it is. But we will be in and out of the mute, reacting to it as well too, of course. But again, just to say about the hype as well too, I don't know if anybody from a creator's standpoint has taken like and just you know based on the content as well too, has taken sort of a bigger sort of diss, I guess, you know, getting drunk and whatever, right? Just from the quality of the project, the way people talked about the big day. I don't know if anybody's kind of had a harder reception pause to something that they've dropped than Chance the Rapper, again, kind of with the expectation to it as well, too. I'm trying to think of, like, a movie over... Oh, chat, what happened to the Pluto TV? Oh, no, it timed out. It's been doing so good. I feel like sometimes that app is not the best. That's the best thing about... I know I'm going to jinx it now. That's the great thing about Tubi. I don't know what their computer system is, but it's just like the app never crashes for us. It's just Tubi's reliable as ever. But Pluto's still working on that part of the 2K rating. I guess it is what it is. How is it not even in the continued watching? Hey, yo. I mean, I'm all for continuing to watch The Fugitive, but that's not what we're trying to do here, chat. Hey, yo. We're still trying to watch this Bernie Mac set. Okay, wait a second. We got to focus. Sorry, Chance. I'm still listening. I'm really liking what I'm hearing. The gospel-y sound, it was a little bit, you know, we had kind of a harder intro. There's an aggressiveness there, but it does feel like, you know, we've kind of leveled out. Again, there's kind of a gospel vibe here as well. Chance, you can tell he is passionate in his bars a little bit. I feel like I should listen here for a second. Hey, and I got to fast forward anyways. Time out. We've got some almost like Pharrell feeling drums here at the beginning, which I don't know if is intentional or, you know, just kind of coincidental. We're thinking about it as well, too, after the Clips album. You know, everything's kind of filtered through that lens at this point. But I really like what I heard from, you know, again, talking over that first track. We can go to the genius here and I guess see what he's actually saying bar for bar. But production-wise, I imagine really, really solid. And that is, of course, I think kind of the soulful stuff is where he strives. And I feel like, and again, the big day, you know, make no mistake, we haven't revisited it, so I'm not going to sit here and necessarily defend it. But again, I will say, I feel like he has taken a little bit too much heat for this album. I feel like, and like we've said before as well, and you know, for him it's a little bit tougher because he doesn't quite have the discography where, again, if Drake drops an album and it's like you get 4 good songs in an album, it's like, oh, you know, it is what it is. Drake's, you know, obviously we want great projects, but he's obviously got so many other great songs that the back catalog can make up for it at this point. It just is what it is. You know, Chance the Big Day only had a couple of projects, you know, the streaming stuff at that point, just between Acid Rap and Coloring Book as well, too. Let's see. I'm going to say that I have, maybe I was nice to Chance. Just like, I feel like maybe I have like either all of the albums saved in a playlist somewhere, or I have it's just like buried in a playlist, or I have like 3 songs. The over-under's 3. So we say 3.5. Not, I'm gonna go 2.5 on the over-under. Again, I'm a generous playlist guy, so I'm gonna say over-under 3.5. Actually, we might have to go 2.5 at that point, because I feel like there is a song with DaBaby on here. 2019 DaBaby. I mean, you know, we were saving that into a playlist, chat. It is what it is. I'm still saving it into a playlist. I was like, DaBaby, okay, I guess it is what it is. But let's see here. I'm gonna say we'll just take the over. Oh, 0. Okay. This must be a different version of the album on Spotify. It is what it is. Yeah, DaBaby, the one with DaBaby, Hot Shower, that beat does go kind of crazy. I honestly don't know if I can picture another song. Just like if I can just hear another song in my head. So it is what it is. You know, shout out to Chance. I'm not necessarily bringing that back up to be too critical. I'm just saying, I feel like he did get a little bit too much hate for this one. I almost want to just like skip through this real quick and re-listen to this. Wait, how long was it? 1 hour 17:22, and that song specifically is, again, with DaBaby on it. Maybe you get DaBaby on a little bit more of the trap song, and I guess that one is the one song as well too, if you look at the streaming numbers, that is kind of a fun song. Do we cue this one up next, chat? I mean, I guess I don't want to break the rhythm of the album. Hey yo, but I don't remember if this whole album is a little bit sort of trap focused like that, but again, you know, with Acid Rap and with Coloring Book, there is a little bit more of the soulful stuff that he is going for as well too. So you kind of see the upbeatness on this one as well. I'm assuming this is the feature kind of with the, oh no, it's Chance, chat. Hey, I'm gonna take an earbud out. Gotta hear what's going on. I was say, was the feature kind of doing the melodic stuff there, but Chance is cruising. We got a fun flow here. This one does feel a little bit more, you know, again, kind of pop as well. Felt like he was giving us some bars on that first track. But that's a fun dynamic to bounce back and forth in the album. And I feel like the production is 2 for 2 at this point. We got a nice little flow here from the second to the third as well. That wasn't necessarily like, you know, The Weeknd, but there was a seamlessness to the production. We got like a little voicemail interlude type thing there, and then kind of changing up the rhythm with this track, getting a little bit, you know, again, a little bit more trappy, a little bit darker here, kind of upbeat with the first 2. We got Jamila Woods on the feature, and then BJ the Chicago Kid. So I don't know if we're getting a little bit more, you know, next track, you know, darker vibes, ayo. But, well, I guess, ayo, now I'm canceled, ayo, Chad. It is what it is. But, you know, maybe lyrically, from the content standpoint, I don't know what we're going to get there. But do we have to pull up the Genius and see? We might have to go to the Genius here, chat, and check out some of the chance of, oh, we got a new Conan Gray album, Wishbone. Cardi B samples Jay-Z on new song Imaginary Players, Dijon's new album, and then we get to Chance as well. So who was the pop star that dropped an album the other week when oh, Ethel Cain. Shout out. So we got Ethel Cain and Conan Gray taking over the pop world right now. We got Chance, we got Gunna, we got Jid, you know, Clips earlier in July for sure. So is Joey our big... Whoa! We got Jay Electronica on a feature. And Young Thug as well, too. Shout out. So Joey, Young Thug, and Jay Electra on a feature list for Chance. Bringing back some heavy hitters as well, too. You know, he's never been, of course, afraid to have some heavy hitters. But I feel like his feature lists from the last ones have been pretty stacked as well. So you get BJ the Chicago Kid again in Acid Rap. You've got No Name, you know, BJ the Chicago Kid with Saba, Childish Gambino, Action Bronson, Ab-Soul, all on that. And then Coloring Book. I'm trying to remember which one he actually won the Grammy for. Did he win for Coloring Book? He didn't win for Coloring because that would have been 2016. That would have been like T-Pap era. So unless he won for the year after T-Pap. Here, I'll double check that here in a second. But yeah, he had on this one, I guess shout out Jamila Woods again, Lil Wayne and 2 Chainz, Jeremiah, Francis and the Lights, Young Thug and Lil Yachty, Saba, Bieber, Knox Fortune, Jay Electra again, Future, T-Pain, Kurt Franklin, Eric Allen Kane, and No Name. And then Ty Dolla $ign, Anderson .Paak, BJ the Chicago Kid, Rory, and Jamila Woods on the last one. A couple of big posse cuts there at the end for sure. But yeah, I always forget about the Grammy stuff with him as well too, that he was. So again, that really, like we're saying, goes to the different levels of critical acclaim he got for that Big Day album. Honestly, like, again, from a movie standpoint, I'm trying to think of somebody that has dropped like a real, not even like a, I guess it would be like maybe it is the Eternals, chat. Hey, yo. But I feel like even that still, you know, maybe it was like a 60-40, a 70-30 type of ordeal with people, like people kind of defending that. And again, I guess directorially, that movie is still like a really beautifully looking shot. Like, there is still some good things about that movie. Again, I think maybe there's some story stuff that gets a little kind of confusing at the time, and I guess I would need to go back and rewatch that one as well too. And maybe some inconsistent performances across the board. You know, you get some really good ones and then some maybe some not so. I guess again I'd have to go back and double check. But he won for was it Acid Rap? Because it was a mixtape. So I forget if Coloring Book is technically considered a mixtape or an album. Yeah, so they're both mixtapes. I guess the Big Day is technically, so this is technically his second album, I guess, with the Big Day being his debut studio album. Hey yo, chat. It is what it is. It happens. But yeah, you got let's see, Acid Rap 2013. So I guess that would have been both right around the Kendrick time as well too. Good Kid, Mad City 2012. So yeah, it would have been for Coloring Book that actually ended up winning 2017 Grammys, going up against Hello was the record of the year against Formation, Hello by Adele, Formation Beyonce, 7 Years by Lucas Graham, hey yo, Work by Drake and Rihanna, and Stressed Out by 21 Pilots. Album of the year in general, 25 to Adele over Lemonade, over Purpose by Justin Bieber. You've got Views by Drake, and A Sailor's Guide to Earth, Sturgill Simpson. They've always got to have one fun one in there, chat. Hey yo, it is what it is. Shout out to Sturgill Simpson. But Views, Purpose, Lemonade, and 25, all nominated in 2017. Holy cow. I mean, that's a powerhouse musical year right there. Those are some heavy hitter, the cultural, the quality, the in the moment, just the numbers. That's some crazy stuff. You've got Chance taking home Best New Artist. At this time, you've got, so 2017 Grammys Best New Artist, Chance the Rapper versus Kelsey Ballerini, The Chainsmokers, Maren Morris, and Anderson .Paak. Hey, yo, I mean, Anderson .Paak 2013. I feel like Anderson .Paak's got the best discography of this group here since then for sure. Or 2017, I guess. since then. So wait, he wins Best New Artist in 2017, but he did have Acid Rap in 2013 as well too. So I guess giving him a little bit of love there for the mixtape stuff. But yeah, you would have, I guess, where'd that Best New Artist list go? An interesting list there, because they all have had pretty good success, I guess, since then. The thing would be, maybe some of the commercial success. Like, I don't know if Anderson .Paak has hit commercial success the same way like the Chainsmokers have had. But, I would rather take his discography at this point. And he has been, done movie stuff. He was in the Super Bowl performance as well, too, with Dr. Dre. So I feel like him performing at the Super Bowl is a pretty good highlight for this list. As well, like, has Kelsey, I guess there haven't been, like, a country star at the Super Bowl as well. So, thankfully we get to Jay-Z. Don't have any country stars performing at the Super Bowl. I just jinxed it. Morgan Wallen's doing the Super Bowl next year. It is what it is. But, yeah, Chance actually winning is kind of, again, crazy for the time as well, too. Because he was, of course, kind of a critical guy back in the day. But where's the actual category here? Oh, so he won Best Rap Performance with No Problem. Whoa, so he was going up against Panda by Designer, Panda, Pop Style by Drake, all the way up, Fat Joe, and That Part by Schoolboy Q. Oh, chat, this is an interesting revisionist year. Oh, I feel like this might be a Schoolboy Q year. You've got, so you've got Coloring Book Chance the Rapper, and Anonymous Nobody De La Soul. Major Key, DJ Khaled, shout out. Views, again, by Drake. The Blank Face LP and Life of Pablo. Wow, so they really, and maybe there is a history there of the Grammys kind of going for the newer person as well. I'm thinking this year you had Doechii up against, and I feel like the category Life of Pablo, Views, and what was the other one there, chat? Blank Face and I guess Blank Face is what his fourth. That's what it is, his fourth album. So yeah, he's in that established period at that point as well. I would say it's a little bit more quality than Might Delete Later. What was it? Might Delete Later, Death of Slim Shady, and We Don't Trust You, but still kind of similar vibes with how those are nominated. That's for sure. And I feel like, again, even the year like Good Kid, Mad City got, the heist one that year. Like even Macklemore was still like a newer artist at that time, so he's still, again, from a category standpoint, still kind of fits into that realm. I feel like that was his debut album, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see, was that their first? Yeah, it was their debut album by the group, anyways, at that point. But that was their artistry, was that group. So yeah, that was, and then you had Kendrick winning in 2016 with T-Pap, and in 2018 again as well too. In 2018 it was Kendrick, it was Jay-Z, 444, Migos, Culture, Rhapsody, Layla's Wisdom, and then Tyler the Creator with Flower Boy. And then 2019 Swimming, Mac Miller, Victory Lap, Daytona, Astroworld, and Invasion of Privacy. Hey, yo. So, I kind of feel like Blank Face might have been the project from 2017, low-key, but Chance is not, and Coloring Book's really great as well, too, so it's not necessarily a bad pick. Life of Pablo, I mean, Views is still the one, that you're probably going to, that currently still would get the most replay value, and is really great. And I feel like the magnitude of that album, you could, I guess that would be the argument. In Life of Pablo as well, too. So are we putting it 4th and 5th behind De La Soul? Hey, yo, it is what it is. But I feel like the scale of those albums. So wait, do we have like a first week for this? I don't even know if it would have had that type of release as well, too. It may have eventually had some kind of, certified gold in Denmark, I guess, for 20,000 units. 8th on the Billboard 200. So it's a top 10 album back in the day. It was pretty popular as well, too. And that No Problem song was definitely everywhere. I don't know where this quite peaked on the Billboard charts. Does it say? Pitchfork listed at number 12 of their 100 best songs of 2016. No Problem was one of the 30 best songs of the first half of 2016, Rolling Stone stated. It doesn't say where it peaked here. Commercial performance. Debuting at number 86. Eventually peaked at number 43. Okay, so maybe that's kind of a Midwest Chicago thing as well. Because I guess that's another reason why I always kind of like Chance as well. Is because the Midwest thing, I always kind of like to cheer for the Chicago guys. You know, as long as we can. Ayo. But, and because you got, like, from where we're at in Iowa, we're kind of equally associated between, or, you know, kind of distanced, influenced. You've got, I would say, well, Chicago is definitely the most direct big city influence that we do have, for sure. There is a kind of direct sort of, we're not, I mean, we're far enough away that we're not a suburb of Chicago, obviously. You know, we're in a whole other state. But there is a little bit of outpost on the way to Chicago type vibe. I mean, you know, with those cities in the Midwest on the way there for sure. But again, it's kind of, you could kind of pick up equal influences from Chicago, a little distance from Detroit, but still works its way into the Midwest for sure in this area of the Midwest. And then, you know, St. Louis as well too. We're kind of right in between St. Louis and Chicago would be two of the main cities for that. But I always kind of, again, like to cheer for the Chicago guys for sure. So, you know, Chance being the critical guy from that time was definitely a guy that we would cheer for. So you did have Drake winning with Hotline Bling at the time. And it is kind of, I guess I don't know his beef with the Grammy timeline as well too. You know, he did win for this song. But it is kind of crazy that, you know, him and Kanye didn't, you know, back in 2017 as well too. Both of those guys weren't winning the Grammy, that Chance was actually, again, defeating. Because, again, you know, like, I feel like Doechie's project was definitely a better project this year for the new artist. And I guess that is a good comparison as well, too, because it's technically a mixtape. So Chance won with the mixtape, and then she would be the second mixtape ever to win. Ayo. But, again, there's, like, undeniably better than the project that it was just up against and of the year as well too. And I guess of the window as well, because from a year standpoint, you would just have to go into the next 2026 window to make like a year end argument type list. And then again, it is not necessarily going to be competing in the same Grammy category as well too. So just against the, like, J. Cole, you know, established, Eminem established, it's just kind of like an undeniable quality that project is going to win versus, you know, again, Views is still like, obvious, you know, an iconic. It's still, if arguably you could make a case, it's the best Drake album. You could make I guess, I don't know if you can make a case that Life of Pablo's the best Kanye album, but, you know, you could still make a, you know, case that in that era, it was pretty big in the quality, maybe the consistency. Maybe it would really actually be down between Views and Blank Face at that point. Because I feel like you might make the same case for Blank Face and Life of Pablo, and maybe that would be just kind of the mixing it up and giving it to Schoolboy Q at that point, because I would say that the best song between the two albums would be on Life of Pablo, probably with No Parties in LA, but the consistency of Blank Face versus, again, Life of Pablo is pretty consistent. It's a pretty solid project for sure. I would maybe not quite have it. Like, I do feel like, again, it is talked about as like and because of the branding and the marketing around it and just the moment that it was as well too. Again, it's an iconic moment for sure. But I do feel like from an album standpoint, it's a tinge behind maybe how people talk about it. But again, in the moment, it's a little surprising that Chance was able to elevate past these guys as well too. So from a song standpoint, he was up against, so Drake got the Hotline Bling win. Chance, No Problems. This is best rap song, not necessarily best performance, because I guess he did win for best performance. But you've also got Famous as well too, Kanye West, and all the way up with Fat Joe, and you've got Ultralight Beam. So Kanye West double nominated, Ultralight Beam and Famous. No Parties in LA for the nomination. Ayo. And I mean, you know, Ultralight Beam, those are both, you know, great lyrical cuts in different ways, I guess, as well. But yeah, I mean, Hotline Bling was obviously a crazy song back in the day. So those. And you still, I feel like that's still a song I don't want to replay just because I don't want to be like, I guess I don't want to get clowned for overplaying a song. But that song is, if we did an overplayed song power ranking, that song would actually be kind of high up there because that song is actually kind of fun to go back to. And maybe it's had the sort of, it got overplayed in the moment and then just dipped off, like it just went away so much that you can kind of go back to, there's like a little bit of a refresh from it. So if you do kind of get it queued up in a situation, but again, a song can get overplayed so much in a moment that I don't know if you could just be in a car now and just like play Hotline Bling. Like if you play Hotline Bling, you're gonna be like, oh, this guy is queuing up Hotline Bling. Like I feel like maybe a song from Scorpion would be like, what are the, I guess Scorpion I don't go back to enough as well too to know what were the hits from that song as well too. What's God's Plan, of course, but then what it was Nonstop, like Crazy Everywhere. What were the other songs that were crazier? I guess I don't remember I remember the songs, I don't remember the titles from the songs from Scorpion for some reason, except for I guess God's Plan was the biggest song anyways from that album in general. But yeah, I guess so. For then 2017, the performance, like we were saying, yeah, Panda, pop style, all the way up, and then that part with Kanye and Schoolboy Q. And I don't think, I guess he wouldn't have gotten nominated for Big Day, and I don't think he got nominated for Coloring Book as well, too. 13 would have been, I guess this is for song here. Let's go, if we can find the album award again for that. There's Coloring Book again. Where did Best Rap Album go? Let's see. Oh, I guess we're on the song, not the album. Best Rap Album. Let me re-look that up here real quick. So we've got, for that 2013 era, Drake and Take Care won in the 2013 year. Over 2 Chainz, Lupe Fiasco, Nas with Life Is Good, Rick Ross, Gotta Forgives, I Don't, and The Roots Undone. Then you had in 14, The Heist, Nothing Was the Same, Magna Carta, Holy Grail, Good Kid, Mad City, and Yeezus as well. So it would have been one of those 2 years that it would have fallen in potentially. I don't think Acid Rap. I think maybe Acid Rap, people would say, is his best one, but I don't think it would have been good enough in the moment to like be the sort of instant nomination at that time as well. And he needed that sort of little bit of a bump and then another consistent project as well. And again, sort of the Ye endorsement sort of association, I'm sure, helping at the time with some of that critical acclaim in there as well. But again, so far he is, from the production, I guess we're just talking right over the Joey verse. Ayo, chat. Okay, so we gotta go back, we gotta restart this song so I can listen to our guy Joey. I think he did drop a day for the actual album. I think we get the album not next week, in 2 weeks we get the album, so that is of course exciting. Oh, did this drop as a single already, or did this just have a lot of streams? Ayo, people are bumping it. Who knows? Wait, let me go to the Chance discography here and see if this one was labeled as a single. I don't think it is. Ayo, Tree is his last single. Smino Wayne, shout out. But people are messing with our guy Joey, of course. So here, let me go back to this one, and can we find the Joey verse? Let's see, chat, if we can get a react in the moment. The beat, I think, is one that you'd want to have Joey on for sure. We got that triumphant, soulful feel here. Okay, that's still Chance. Chance, shout out, Chance. We love hearing your Chance, buddy. You're great. Still Chance, he's singing. Uh-oh. Is Joey just like 30 seconds at the end? Ayo, pause. Let's see here. Uh-oh, we might actually have to listen to the song, chat. It is what it is. Okay, wait, mute! Yeah, chat, this is Chance in his bag right here. I mean, we needed to pay a little bit more attention over the last couple of songs, but this is what you want right here. The rhymes are great. The flow is that sort of patient Chance kind of enunciating everything type flow. We go into the little Chance kind of sing-songy type thing here. Chance, he's got a hit. This is a winner's, the easily the number one off the album so far. Oh, and there's that song track number 1, Tree, the other single. So yeah, the other one with the major single. So this one had to have been a single earlier, and I guess missed it at this point. But hey, I'm good to experience it on the album for the first time either way, chat. Now we got new Joey Chance to listen to. I'm down. Oh. Joey Chet does not get the respect as the guy in the features. I think when he has features and they're great, they get talked to, and you're like, oh man, Joey killed that feature, but he doesn't get brought up in the conversation as, oh, Chet, we might have to pause. This is perfect timing. Right after this Joey feature, pause the album, and Bernie Mac's going up for the set in the original Kings of Comedy rewatch. Don't forget we have that on in the background as well, too. Okay, wait, let me pause that real quick. Bernie Mac's going on stage, and then we'll pause the album after this and watch at least some of that set as well. Focus in real quick. But yeah, Joey, and I've been listening to a lot of his verses as well too. He's, again, kind of real great on a feature. His, discography is up there with, just from a quality standpoint, up there with the best of them. But when he's able to focus in on a verse as well too, it's just kind of a special thing. And that's kind of that Cole thing as well. And Kendrick is great at that on a feature for sure. As we saw with We Don't Trust You and What You Don't Like That, of just going in and just kind of dropping a verse for sure. But he does have a little bit of a sort of a interesting dichotomy of the type of features that he has, where, again, when he is dropping bars, it is almost kind of like, okay, it's either that control feature or the feature on Like That, where he's calling somebody out and he feels like he needs to, be in that type of lane. Or he will kind of do like sometimes almost like a vocally thing on a feature, where you are kind of surprised about, not the lack of, again, just like normal Kendrick features, but the amount of times that people, okay, we're firing back up to focus on the Bernie Mac set here. We're turning the album down. It is what it is. Sorry, Chance, but this song, Space and Time, looks like it for the kids anyways. So, and Bernie Mac twerking on stage, 2000. Hey, yo, chat. Ahead of the time. But what were we saying? Yeah, and obviously, Kendrick's, again, featured discography is good. We were just mentioning No Parties in LA, too. Perfect for him just dropping a verse. But again, he has that range of, he'll maybe bring a different range of artistry to a song, where you get a guy like Cole on a song, and he's played in the R&B world for sure, but a lot of times Cole's just gonna give you a verse on a song, and Joey is that way. But those guys are so great that when they, again, can kind of focus and narrow in on the amount of bars that they can give you. And it's like, that Steph Curry's playing with Durant, everything. When they have the other guy that's going to do a lot of heavy lifting on the offense, and they can just kind of focus on playing off the other guy, they're just going to be so dynamic. And Joey is as dynamic a feature artist as, literally anybody in the game right now. I would trust him with a feature to just drop strong rhymes and cool rhymes and fun stuff. And I think this album is going to be really, really great. I think the delay was unfortunate for sort of the hype train rolling in, and I think maybe the timing, we'll just have to see, because in some ways the elevated maybe hip-hop name that he got with some of the early of the year beef stuff will help him out in the promotion for this album. But I would have wondered what just the best time in the timeline of that stuff would have been to drop the album. as well too. Who knows? But again, at the end of the day, a great project is what you want to get. So getting that is going to be the factor. And it's not like delayed because of quality. It was some label stuff, of course. But it does seem like that day is now set for the 29th. And again, you know his bars and stuff are going to be great on that. But I'm trying to remember which couple of features I've been listening to as of late. Oh, the feature that he has on Absol's album. I forget if it's 2020 or 2023, but the album Herbert from Absol, which is another album that we've kind of been slowly digging up again in some of these playlists as well. I don't know where, like if we've listened to this album in full, start to finish, or if we've, Moon Shooter with our guy Joey. But this album has been getting a lot of just, like, Spotify's been feeding us recommends from this album. And, you know, again, sometimes, I guess, you know, we're talking about Joey, so it's like we're not against some lyrical stuff. But, you know, sometimes you don't want to get a little too overly lyrical. But this is a really, of course, just great. The production, Absol's a great lyricist as well, too. And there was a song that I was listening to. Maybe it was on that Moon Shooter pause. Hey, yo. I don't know if it's pause. But there was a line that he had. I might have to pull it back up. But it was a line that Kendrick had on his newest album as well, or one of his new features or something, or on GNX. I forget. Maybe we'll play that song a little bit later. But, and maybe if we went to the Genius annotation of what that Kendrick thing was, it would be like, yeah, here's the, you know, the Absol thing. But I thought it was kind of cool as well, too, because he does also say on GNX, Kendrick, in the Heart Part 6, when he's talking about Absol, that he studied Absol's game and tries to, you know, model some of the stuff that he does after Absol. So it is, of course, you know, again, totally fair to be like, yeah, I do that. And then also on this other song, you know, I'm stealing a bar or something, or a flow or whatever. But I was just like, oh yeah, that's a Kendrick flow. But also he was saying that he was modeling his game after Absol, so it makes sense as well too. But it was, again, from that 22, 23 album, and something that Kendrick had done recently on a feature as well too. I don't think it was, it was something on Chains and Whips. And I forget which bar now it was as well too. Was it something Gentrify thing, one of the Gentrify bars? I don't know. Let me just pull that song back up. Not Chains and Whips, but let me just pull Moon Shooter. Ayo. Back up. But that one, and then Syrup Sandwiches with Joey from Corday's album from 2024 as well too. The Crossroads, which, again, if you haven't listened to that album as well too, that album is a must listen. But his feature on that is really great as well too. How does he start that? He says, I stay Comme des Garçons and readily armed, and there's something about charm, and I don't know, Chad. He's just, you know, dropping bars on that. And I wish I was for certain about this Absol line as well too. I guess, like I was saying, I could go to the potential Chains and Whips feature and see if it is labeled in there as well. Industry giving me indigestion. Be up and out ain't an option in my profession. I don't think it was indigestion that Kendrick was referencing, but maybe something in those rhyme schemes. I don't know. But regardless, again, him in a feature, obviously his discography just in general is great. So shout out our guy Joey. We are very excited, of course, to see his album. And he's got J Electronica stashed here at the end for the final reveal. So that's going to be fun as well, too. I don't know when the last time our guy J Electronica has popped up in an album. At least, you know, again, not one that we've had on the rewatch or on the, you know, the reaction stuff here as of recently. Featuring here, not in the playlist. We want, I guess, appearing on. What's it labeled as? Yeah, here we go. Appears on 2018 Pooh Bear Presents. We've got, oh, no years listed. Oh, was Sundial 2023. Yeah, so we got 2023 with him on Sundial. In No Name, we've got, and I guess I don't know if this is this is obviously not listed in order here. So I don't know if there's any 2024 appearances from some albums that I'm just not certain of the release date. But I guess he has been around in the, some of the underground smaller guys as well too. But, hasn't necessarily been, like we're saying, in the mainstream albums. So, Chance, I don't know, what tier we're putting him in on here. But wait, when did Chomp 2 drop? From Russ, 2021. Okay, so yeah, I guess nothing too crazy over the last couple of years. So we'll see what kind of, from a volume standpoint. So we'll, it's J Electronica, of course, too. So we'll see what we get there at then. And I guess I also haven't, of course, heard this next track, not the one that's playing right now, but the one after this, with Smino and Lil Wayne yet, as well too. So that will be a fun listen. But apparently people just literally listening to the Lil Wayne track and then everybody drops out because the stream numbers are kind of similar all the way through till that one, and then they just again are get similar. The same 1,300 people have just cruised through the rest of this album. I guess it is what it is. Shout out Chance. We're gonna listen to the whole thing, chat. We got start to finish, pause commitment for our guy Chance the Rapper for Starline. We will, give Chance a chance, chat. It is what it is. Unless, the Lil Wayne track is just so tragic that we have to turn away. I don't know what people are listening here. He was, I know, again, maybe the album itself was not necessarily the biggest hit, but he did have moments on that album, and he as a feature, I think, can still get to a good place for sure. And, of course, so can Smino as well, too. And we've got Young Thug. So Young Thug and Lil Wayne, Smino here, Tia Kareen as well, too. All stacked here at this section of the album. Kind of right around some Chance solo tracks as well, too. Yeah, we go Joey, then 2 Chance solos, then Young Thug, Lil Wayne, then 2 Chance solos as well, too. And then we get, BJ's Gotcha Kid, J Electronica, and Co. at the end there. So I like the sequencing from our guy. Couple of the smaller features, Do or Die and Baby Chief Do It, in the early part of the album as well, too. I like the young Thug little flow kind of. Was there like a little beat switch here? Here, let me kind of go back and see if we can get the start of the Young Thug part here. We'll hit the mute. I mean, he's setting it up nicely for Young Thug. He's got a nice little catchy hook going. The kind of the are we going? Hey, what are there? Kind of the drum skips here. Nicely set up for a Young Thug feature. The flow that Chance has is, I think, again, kind of setting us up for that little like choppy little Young Thug thing that he can kind of do at some point as well. Oh, was that Thug? Oh, Chad, he's getting some good performances from the heavy hitters. Joey delivers. I think Thug is delivering, Chad. We'll see, of course, the Wayne Smino single. You guys have already heard it, I guess, but we'll see if they deliver as well, too. But the Thug flow is fun. It's catchy. It fits the vibe of the track really great. Again, it and Chance kind of complement each other and flow nicely. And then we're right into the Tia Kareen flow. Yeah, Chad, this is a fun track, and the energy is the energy is brought back as well too into the album. You know, again, Joey's gonna bring the bars, but we're kind of on that soulful vibe. We're cruising a little bit different now. We're kind of, we're dancing, we're moving around a little bit, chat. We're having a good time. Young Thugs in the building. You know, it's always gonna be fun. We're getting set up for that Lil Wayne track next. So, Chance the Rapper, chat. Hey, yo. You know, it's a tough time right now to enter the arena. We've got a lot of quality on deck for 2025 at this point. But Chance is competing, and I'm already, there's already more songs that we just would save, I guess, out of this than we would out of the big day. So it's a win in that way. I guess it is what it is. But here we go. Here's Wayne, chat. 2025. Some redemption for Wayne. This does feel like a old school Chance beat right here, chat. Hey, yo. This is kind of crazy. I feel like the production on this album, like he was very consistent production through the singles that he released. And it did feel like he was setting a very certain sort of tone for the album. So I feel like, maybe in one sense, if he just releases an album and it's all songs in that vibe and it's just, okay, is it a little bit of overkill of that kind of sound as well too? But, and then again, we kind of get to this album, it feels like we're a little bit more diverse production from that as well too. But again, this kind of old school Chance beat, I feel like kind of sets everything in that kind of just, this feels a little bit more, again, like a 2013, 2014, 15, just that range of Chance the Rapper type music, where, again, I don't really, remember much from the big dance, whatever it was called, but the ones that we do remember do feel a little like they're cool because they're different from what you get from Chance, and they're playing in a little bit of a different lane. But just kind of the funkiness of this track, the way it kind of, again, there's kind of an upbeat energy to it, but it's not overly produced. It is kind of a simple beat. It kind of easily works along, but again, it still brings a good energy as well too. And Chance gets a chance to do his little vocal performance over it, which Chance's different flows and cadences, I think, have been really great throughout this album as well too. They've been, feel like, really great matches to the beats that he's been picking here. And this, like we were saying, is his last couple of features before he goes solo for these next couple of tracks as well too. So wait, did we talk to the Wayne verse? Where's Wayne? Is this Smino right now? Oh, here we go. Here's Wayne. Testing, are we back? Here's Wayne. Okay, chat. This feels like that I Spy track that was popular back in the day. That I be getting high. Well, I don't even know. Does this sample that track? This is like, I feel like we could just play that song, would just fade right into that chat. I feel like Lil Wayne might have, this verse, we could do like a secret remix of this verse on that song, which might be kind of cool, honestly, if we could just combine these two together. Yeah, chat, this is a win. This is a win. This is a playlist song for sure. Chance is definitely brought a strong selection with the single games. I mean, again, he relied on his features for the single game, as you wouldn't necessarily be surprised by. But they were both also, so far a couple of the more fun tracks off the album as well too. So I don't know if you want to give away all your high points, but again, for us, I guess it's all sort of new listening experiences. But okay, here we go, chat. Continuing the upbeat vibes here. I didn't know if Chance was going to get a little lyrical. We got a couple of clean tracks here as well too. But I don't know, is he going to spit bars? Just a couple of PG-13, I was going to say spit sessions, but hey, yo, pause! We got like house music from Chance. Hey, yo, chat. Chance in the club. Again, we got nobody cussing, but we're still going to be having a good time, I guess. Can we have a good time without cussing, chat? I don't even know. Oh, is this Chance? Is he using some kind of vocal processing here? Hey, yo. This might be the craziest sing flow he's ever had. Oh, chat, we can be a sucker for some of these corny songs, I gotta say. This might be a fun song. This might be a song that I'll play. Again, a beat can go crazy. That can do a lot of carrying for us. I have no problem if a beat's fun to just sit in a car and go, run it back, run your back, run your back, run your back. But, hey, I mean, like I'm saying, I'll be sitting in my car singing it anyway. So, be getting the streams that way. This might be a fun one. We should have Lil Wayne on this beat, chat. Hey, yo. Can we switch those verses around? Maybe Lil Wayne would get a little too, like, in his lyrical flow type bag. Like, on that one, he just kind of kept it easy, kept it simple, going back and forth. Again, nothing too crazy. He's saying Winnipeg, Jenny Craig. We're all saying the basic checkpoints here for a rap song. But maybe on this one, he's a little bit more chance to kind of, have some more aggressive flows as well too. And with the way Chance is doing the sing hook on this, like Smino definitely, that would have been our note to Chance, is get Lil Wayne and Smino on this beat right here. I guess we'll see what Letters is as well too. But that's kind of a fun little dance track. I think Tyler would be proud, chat. Tyler the Creator is shaking his hips to this one right here, that's for sure. Can we get a club where we play Sugar on Your Tongue and Run Your Block back to back? Hey, yo. I don't know if that'd be the most lit club, but hey, for the Tyler part, it'd be kind of fun. I mean, shut your chance. Okay, so this is the lyrical cut right here, chat. We got an aggressive chant right. We got an aggressive chance. I feel like he's kind of been holding some pent-up energy throughout the rest of the track list here. Oh, go chant. Oh, Chad, he's taking on the whole religious industry right now. Chance. I feel like there was an opportunity there for him to, I thought we were going to get kind of like a beat drop. So maybe, kick into double time and Chance kind of goes for some flows there. But we're kind of waiting on that. I don't know, maybe we're just building suspension here. We're going to go crazy at the end. Oh, no, beat switch, something a little simpler. Church and the state, he's here to separate. Chance, okay. He is Chance the Rapper after all, so I see it did rhyme. Oh, so this is a letter style song. Hey, yo, chat. Addressing everybody, addressing all of the church institutions here, chat. Hey, yo. Chance, he's got something to say. I feel like, again, not a lot of people have done that in rap songs. Does NLE Choppa have any songs addressed to the black church? I don't know. I'll have to go back through his discography. Some heavy bars from Chance Chat. I don't know. Are we equipped to break this down? We may just have to say, oh, you know, Chance, he's doing a great job. But we do get kind of that little hook, sing, beat switch up to this. Again, I don't know if we could call this a hook. I don't think he's going to run this back, but switching into the singy stuff. Again, that is out of that Kendrick bag right there. That did feel a little bit more Kendrick-y than Chance right there, in a way. And I did like the way he used that there to keep the song interesting. Again, the beat switches have been fun. The drum switches in this have been a good choice. Definitely the most diverse production, and you know, letting Chance kind of speak his mind as well too on this track. Yeah, and again, looking from the streaming stuff, like you would assume, I don't know if this would be the turning point in the album, or like do things start to go south here, but we got a couple of different tracks to continue to add to the diversity of the track list, and both of them are quality as well too. So he continues to deliver here through the end. I feel like at this point, you know, again, we're on the side where we've turned into a winning album at this point. Like Chance has kind of turned the corner. He has the hits, he has the good songs, he has the fun collection of things to add into the playlist, and he turns the corner, like we're saying here, with kind of a lyrical cut. So I almost feel like, again, with the way this album is structured, to have that lyrical cut there, that does almost feel like an end point. You get 13 songs. I don't know where that gets you from a runtime as well too. And then this almost feels like a little deluxe-ish here at the end. So I don't know, maybe you get whatever your J Electronica feature here at like track 13 and then drop your letters at then. But I guess you can't end on that as well too. You probably need to, you know, bring the album back around as well. But BJ the Chicago Kid, ayo, and Lion Babe on this track. Shout out Lion Babe. Who do we got here? Is this a new artist for us? House of Lion Babe, new album release that we could potentially add in here. Let's see, we've got all solo. No Chance featured on House of Babe. Whoa, House of Babe Deluxe is, 3 hours. 59 songs. I thought it said 59 minutes. Hey, yo. House of Babe is really going to keep us carried through to the gym tomorrow. I guess we've got extended mixes and acoustic versions and remixes on here as well. So what's just the original House of Babe track list? Hey, yo, begin House of Babe Deluxe. House of Babe, here we go. 2024. Shout out. 14 minutes, 41. 14 songs, 41 minutes. All solo. This could be, maybe this is the one we save in right here and add in. And see, now to kind of bring back the triumphant energy, but we do have a cut here as well too. 5 minutes on this track is an expansive song here as we wind down as well too. So I don't know if this would have been a LeBron strategy, because between Joey and I guess Jay Electron would be good to have in the album as well too, to continue to add hype for that feature list. But I don't know if you go, like we're saying, kind of, but this would be a good, and but maybe pretty just to drop. We can't, I guess these are all good, so we can't say that, you know, at this point we want to cut him off. I just don't necessarily want him to, you know, lose steam as well too over the last couple of tracks. But I mean, if he goes 17 for 17, 15 for 17 in here, you know, that is obviously pretty great as well too. We don't want to just like cut him off for the sake of, you know, just for having an album under an hour. Like if I can have an album over an hour and it's good, then by all means, let's hear it. You know, not like it hasn't been done before, but you know, it's just kind of the rule of thumb that we tend to go for as well too. But I see the vocal performance. I guess is this I guess this would be BJ. Ayo, shout out. But the vibe is being set here. You kind of see him cruising a little bit. We're leaning more vocal heavy over the last couple of bars here at this point. Getting kind of chorusy. I'm liking the vibes, Chad. I'm getting your boys getting are we gonna start levitating? What's happening here? Oh, we got like I just heard like a vocal person like in the background. We're always a fan of that. Here we go. We got an interlude. There haven't been like a lot of interludes. There was that one earlier, but I like bringing this in as well too. This would honestly, again, this does feel like a good way to kind of a 5-minuter at the end, then bring it in with the deluxe. I mean, the problem is, again, you always kind of wonder how people are gonna receive the hype with the same, receive the deluxe with the same hype as that initial project as well too. So at this point, if we're like leave all of these in and then just the J Electronica feature, you know, you might as well just have the last 2 tracks on at that point. It's probably what you're thinking from an album standpoint instead of, you know, 15 tracks and then bring 2 in on the deluxe as well. But maybe you have to have a third on the deluxe at that point, and then, you know, you're an hour. You could still probably even add 2 to the deluxe and keep it under an hour 15 at that point. So if you're looking at, you know, at that point you're, I guess, 19 tracks, so you would have, you know, 2 of these saved for the deluxe. So 19 tracks at an hour 15 for a deluxe would not be bad as well too. But that is looking like a win. So here we go, another solo. This is where we start to cross our fingers. We a couple tracks away. Hopefully we land the plane. I mean, the sample cut is strong to start. The stage is set for Chance to drop some bars. And I like the vocal heavy chop as well too. You know, we don't have like a crazy melody behind it as well. Again, you know, there's a lot of times those vocals will sit behind, you know, whatever the song is, but this is kind of focusing that way. So of course they're gonna bring that in a little bit later as the track builds. Uh-oh, Chatty might be landing the plane here. He might be doing it. Starline, Chance the Rapper, he's back. He's back, ladies and gentlemen. And I guess like we were saying earlier as well too, with sort of the hype thing, I mean, this is just gonna be, there is gonna be nothing that sort of matches the anticipation of this album, because, you know, whether or not this album is good or bad, the next album again is just going to be, if this album is, you know, received as a great album, then the next album he's going to have the benefit of the doubt of, oh yeah, Chance the Rapper is great at making projects, and that one, you know, it just is what it is. Stuff happens, and yeah, you make some choices. It is what it is. But he's going to have that benefit of the doubt. Or if people aren't necessarily messing with this, again, it's just kind of, you know, Chance has his collection of fans, and there are great songs off the album, and the songs from this album are going to, you know, find their way into their playlist, and then his fans will continue to show up, as always, for his next album. But this one will just be the album where it's like, oh man, what happens next with Chance the Rapper's career, and what is he able to produce? And of course, the man is able to step up and drop as a great project. Again, I think it just becomes the narrative stuff of classics and awards and all that stuff. And at what level does he feel like, if I just drop a project that I'm happy with and that fans are happy with, can I live with that? Do I have to get like a Grammy nomination again for that? You know, I have that winning sort of status in my background as well too. But I think this is great, chat. I mean, you see, again, he's a great artist and great at compiling features and making songs and giving you a good, diverse selection of beats and some lyrical cuts uh, as well too. And again, also across some genre blending beats ish in some genre blending ish beats, I guess I should say, in here as well too. And I guess if again, proving that he again still obviously can make great music. If we do get a more active Chance the Rapper as well, maybe some of the business stuff, the executive stuff is how he wants to continue to move off of the mic as well. And the little transition into this Jay Electronica song was smooth, chat, and I'm liking the beat early on. It's catching my attention. An attention grabbing beat. Okay, hopefully we don't just get just a Jay Electronica verse. He's like, okay, Jay Electronica, you only do rapping. Okay, here we go, Chance. Drop some bars. Did he just say they got enough water for fountains? They got enough water for salmon? Hey, yo, who is this guy? Eminem? Got the rhyme schemes here from our guy Chance. Hey, yo. Just a drop, chat. I don't know if this is his most strong lyrical cut off the album so far. But again, the beat's great, and I assume this Jay Electronica verse is going to be strong as well, too. Yeah, see, chat, I might have deluxed to this one. See, I think I would add this one to a playlist, but I do feel like this does feel like, again, the album did kind of, pause, but there was a little bit of a climax there with with Speed of Light that did feel sonically like and lyrically the way that all kind of played out, like a good way to have that album sort of end. Maybe a 5-minute ender, I guess. Yeah, I think you go for it, chat. And then you could deluxe these last 3, and I think he will maybe wins some great points for that. But I guess I wonder if we do get a more active, consistent Chance. And again, he was continuing to with the activity as well too, ramping up to this album drop. But him just popping out, maybe, and just the consistency of him dropping albums. Again, is it going to be another 5-6 years before we get another Chance album? Is this just Chance's cycle of dropping album? It pops out every half decade or so, gives us a project, and, the fans, we love the Chance that, the Chance songs that we do get. Or does he say, hey, I'm back now, and, every year, every 18 months, every 2 years, like, this man's going to be giving us a project, and we do get sort of a full, rounded out pause Chance the Rapper discography, which we are kind of missing at this point as well too. Again, we've only had the 3 projects at this point, really only the 2 that the people revisit as well too. But now a 3rd project that, again, people are going to be revisiting and listening to. Hopefully, I guess I haven't heard the reaction to this, but, I've loved what I've heard tonight, chat, so I can't imagine that people are feeling too far different from what's going on here. But, yeah, shout out to the OG Kings of Comedy as well too, which we should mention is wrapped up at this time as well. So Spike Lee, 25 years later, still an iconic, movie, stand-up special, piece of cinema, whatever you want to, whatever category, it gets put in. But, hey, it turns out it's just going to be Spike Lee weekend on the Reminiscent Pod. Hopefully we go see this Highest to Lowest movie and are able to, share some reactions to it as well too on the next live stream, or I guess just whenever we're able to get this done. And I guess worst case scenario, worst case scenario and best case scenario, whichever way, we'll react in the movie theater way, and then react in the streaming way when this potentially when this will hit Apple TV Plus as well too, and live on there. But yeah, chat, we got the last track of the Chance the Rapper album. Shout out to our guy Joey. Shout out to Jay Electronica. You know, all the features, Wayne Thug as well too. And of course to our guy Chance for a great winning project. Like we said, Kings of Comedy, Spike Lee, Bernie Mac, Martin Lawrence. Shout out to everybody, chat. Hey, what is this, an episode of SNL? You know, be back. What do we got? Same bad time, same bad channel? I don't think that's SNL. Same SNL time, same SNL channel? No, that's not it either. But anyways, yeah, like we were saying, of course, we'll be back Sunday, even if it's not talking about highest to lowest, with some kind of reaction, watch along type of situation. You can follow along here on the YouTube to follow us live, and you can catch the podcast, the live streams up on the podcast feeds as well too. IT posts them on Spotify, Apple. You know, they go up on all the different platforms. So if it's a podcast platform, it's got the REMINGTOM podcast on it, and you can find the live streams over there. And if you want to send us a message, you can DM us at REMINGTOM on Instagram as well too, and talk with us over there. But yeah, shout out to Chance. This is great. This is a win of an album, and we're great to just see him have the confidence to be back and dropping music and supplying his fans as well, because you know that, again, it's been a while and he is a beloved guy and people have been waiting to hear from him musically for a while now in this album type of way. So love to see him get a win and love to see him back in the mix as well too. Shout out. We ride out on Speed of Love, chat, with Jasmine Sullivan. I guess we ride out on mute because we can't listen to it together, but you guys will just have to play it. We'll listen to it our hearts. I'll dub over it here as we go. I guess I've never heard this before, so I don't even know if this is right, but this is the version you're getting. Whoa! Don't I clip out those noises. Be like, okay, what's going on? That's Rem singing Chance the Rapper. But shout out. You know, this does feel, again, a little bit slow. That's why I kind of like that one as well, too. There was a little triumphant sort of happy ending kind of vibes to that as well. Did I say Speed of Light? So we've got a Speed of Light and, yeah, a Speed of Love. Deluxe, chat. Deluxe! LeBron! Have you ever heard of LeBron? 2 more, 3 more for you. Hey, yo. It is what it is. Shout out. But, yeah, chat, we did it. 308. We get Chance. We respect you. We can listen to the last couple minutes of the track. It is what it is. We go back and listen to the Bernie Mac set one more time. Shout out. We talk about this guy that misspelled Michael Penix's name on the Atlanta news broadcast, and they just literally just straight up just spelled it as Michael Penis Jr. I mean, that's literally intentional, chat. I mean, there's nobody's name is Penis Jr. I mean, there may be. Shout out. If your name is Michael Penis Jr., definitely DM us at REMINGTOM Pod. We want to hear from you. Definitely call in. That'd be crazy. But, I mean, you're just doing that to get attention at this point. You're be like, let's be the news station that spells it Michael Penis. Because also, if you were just like some editor or something and they were like, yeah, this quarterback's name is Michael Penis, you definitely would look into that just to double check. You wouldn't be like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll take your word for it. And obviously it's Michael Penis. But, yeah, shout out to whichever CBS station in Atlanta did that. Ayo, pause. But, shout out, hopefully, what's this, Anthony Richardson? Oh, this is old news. Okay, shout out. It's like, he's hurt again? They're not even playing in a preseason game. It is what it is. But, there we go, chat. Chance, we made it! The end of the album. Shout out, Kings of Comedy, 20 years later. Whoa! Wait a second. Did I just close out of the Spotify? Are we back? There we are. Let's see. Where'd Bernie Mac go, chat? R.I.P. The legend. We meant for the background. Whoa! Not quite. Bang! There we go. Pause. All right, chat. We will see y'all later this weekend, Sunday, on the live stream. We will be back. Enjoy your weekend. Peace.